Welcome to the Cherry Picker, the horror movie podcast where we like to kill people, but not really. I'm your host, Zach Cherry, and with me, as always, as always,
Tim McKay from Tim McKay Beauty.
how you doing, Tim?
I'm good. I'm good. It was a long weekend. I had teeth pulled. I went and saw Wuthering Heights a few times. I shouldn't say a few times. I should say a couple times. It's a little more
Twice. I
it's
think
a
you
little
told,
more
yeah,
reasonable. It's a little
yeah.
more reasonable than a few times. But yeah, so that was that. And I know I told you a little bit about it. I know Wuthering Heights is getting a lot of crap, but I think as far as visual spectacle, that's what it is. It's stunning. It's a
Mhm.
feast for the eyes, if you will.
Yeah,
But yeah, how are
yeah.
you doing?
Pretty good. Actually, well, first and foremost, we are talking about Scream 6 today. This is our Redux episode. We previously talked about this with Edward and Andre way back when this came out.
Hmm.
But now we are covering it again for the imminent release of Scream 7, which
So close.
so close, so close.
Woo!
But yeah, I'm good. I'm just working through all the hype here and yeah, just trying to keep busy, I guess. Keep busy and keep sane and keep active and eat and sleep and all that stuff because it's easy to forget to do that sometimes, I find, for me especially.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hmm.
I never forget to sleep these days. I don't know. I'm such a lazy Leo that when it's like besides Monday nights, Monday night is my late night, but every other
Yeah.
night of the week, 10 o'clock, REM, hard REM.
Nice. A
Yeah.
lazy Leo.
Lazy Leo just wants to be cuddly and just sleep all
Just
day.
sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a luxury I just cannot get through. I don't know if it's astrological. I think it's just me being a psychopath, but
Well, a lot of my jobs, I have to wake up. I have to be there at like 7 a.m. or 6:30.
yeah.
So even on my days off, I like to try to get up early so that I'm not like cozy and then like miserable on the days I have to work. So I try to do that.
Fair enough. Well, like we've been doing with, all of the other Scream Redux episodes has been kind of doing our Scream 7 preamble of just sort of
Hmm.
talking about, what's new, what has been released since in terms of like trailers or new posters or hype about it or whatever. And I remember last week you said that you were starting to get excited.
I
The
am excited. I'm fully
Yeah.
excited, actually. I'm gonna go
Um,
ahead and just say that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm getting there, actually. There was a clip. I don't know if it's from a trailer or like the new trailer because I haven't seen it. But it's just sort of like the interview between Gail and
Yes.
Sydney.
Yes. And
And yeah, Sydney, it's like before they started, and Sydney says, "You gonna play nice?" And Gail says, "I've been waiting 30 years for this interview, like not a chance or whatever it is."
yeah.
And she's like, roll the camera. And I'm like, yeah, this is the Gale. Where has she been? Where has she been for the last two movies? I'm really excited for that. I feel like, I have some qualms about like the way that this interview looks or is set up, but
Hmm.
if if the characters are doing the thing that the characters need to be doing, I'm excited for that because this is just like the root of who they are. And I feel that that's been
Hmm.
missing for a while now.
And you never know. We could maybe we just saw the worst of what it looks like. Maybe it'll look better in the movie, you know?
It's very
Um
possible, yeah.
and I'm so excited. I don't care. Like I think it's gonna be great. I'm excited for it to be Sydney. I'm excited to see Tatum run through the streets and calling out for people. It kind of gives me like Helen Shivers vibes
Yeah.
a little bit. So I'm really excited. And again, I saw the second trailer at Wuthering Heights the other day, and it was a great trailer, but it just showed way too much again. I feel like I know a lot more than I wish
Mm,
I did, but I don't have to watch the trailer. I also stare at it like this, and I'm just like sucking it all in, like playing it in slow motion in my
yeah.
mind. So
Is it like a
yeah,
full, like several minute trailer, or is it just another
full
like
trailer, I
oh
believe.
wow.
I believe it, yeah. I think it's a full
Yeah.
regular size trailer.
Did they get like all of the because I know Anna Camp, her character has been kind of absent for a while, so did they finally kind of show more of her?
Yes, yes. I am so
Ooh,
excited for
okay. Say
it.
no
Wait,
more.
sorry, no,
Yeah.
sorry. I was also just reading the chat because Craig said that I keep changing my location, and it's yes, I actually switched all my furniture around in my apartment. So I am just trying to find, but now it's at a desk, so I will be probably here for the remaining time going forward.
Nice. I like the
That was
background. I like
distracting.
the those was the French doors behind you.
Yeah, yeah, it's just a way for landlords in New York to call it a one bedroom. So they just put up these little
Yeah.
flimsy glass doors that I usually never close. But yeah,
And
back
they
on
could be
topic.
like cozy Parisian
Yeah, one bedroom
one
French
bedroom.
door.
Yeah.
Yeah, luxury
Yeah,
experience.
so they could ramp up the prices of that. That's crazy. Let's see. Oh, hey Grant. Gail already had major character regression in six. Oh, we're gonna get to that. That's so if you were with us last week or watched the Scream 5 Redux episode, we were merciless. I think
Yeah,
people were upset. But you know what?
really
It's I think if well, just the, the few
was
who, yeah,
did the comments reflect that?
I think I don't remember. I was just like glancing at them, but I know a lot of people were,
Uh,
not having
I'm
it.
staying out of
I
those.
say a lot. It might have just been the same person over and over again. But
It was
if
just
if
me.
if you were mad last week, like get ready to, have your feelings turn to hatred, because yeah, I've got a huge bone to pick with this. But
Ooh, I'm excited.
actually, I was watching it on 4K. Like I have the steelbook, and it got to the climax, like it was the reveal, and suddenly the disc crapped out. Like it's like skipped a beat and then like froze
Oh
and
no.
did like sort of like this scramble thing, and I'm like, oh Jesus. So I tried to like go back, fast forward, it just wasn't happening. I don't know what the issue with it is. I don't know if it's the player, the disc. I hope it's the disc, but I was
Oh
just
no.
like, I don't actually, this doesn't bother me. I'm okay if of any of the movies I own, and especially any of the Scream movies, it's just like if this is the one that is a faulty disc or whatever, that's fine by me. So
And you
I
said
ended up, what's that?
it was by the reveal, you said? Was it by the
It
reveal
was,
part of
yeah,
the
it was like
movie?
right after like the killers had just revealed themselves and they were like gonna start getting into it. And
Okay.
I mean I could have like went onto Paramount Plus and like continued streaming it. I could have like went on my
Yeah.
computer and watched it, but I was just like, you know what? This is a sign. I'm just gonna turn this off. So I ended
Yeah.
up I turned it off and I put on The Lincoln Lawyer with Nev Campbell. Um and watched that instead, which I was just had such a better time with. But I've seen Scream 6 so many times, so I didn't need to see the finale to remember how it plays out. But
Yes.
I I don't know. I've had that happen with like it happened with my Bride of Chucky 4K, and it was just like that pissed me off. But here, not so much. So just like let that be reflective of, where the opinions might land with Scream 6. Um, was there anything else new with 7? Did they release like character posters?
I think they've been like just I feel like funneling out a ton of stuff on
So many
Instagram.
things.
I mean, but nowadays I can't tell what is fan made and what is like actual. So like I mean everything
Yeah.
that Scream with Ryan Showers
Hmm.
RCS, I think everything he posts is real. So I just pay attention to what he posts and that's it. Um
Okay.
Yeah, because they've been like putting out a lot of stuff. I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
posters. They've been showing that one clip a lot of someone like dangling. So
I wanna swing from the chandelier. That one.
I'm so
Um,
excited. I really, really am.
there was an influencer event, apparently. Like I don't know where that was. I guess it was like in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, it looked like a
Um,
sleepover house. Not a sleepover house, a party house, right?
yeah. Uh, Never got an invite.
That's wild to me.
I've never. Here's the thing, like nobody from like Paramount or any of those people have ever reached out to me unless it's like gone to junk or whatever. Which is cool because I wouldn't have even been able to go anyway. But it's like I've seen like other people online like comments about other like influencers who are like, heavily cover screaming, being like, why weren't you there? Why weren't you there? So I don't know who the people are that are getting invited. I feel like they're maybe just like I don't want to say
Influencers.
that they're not Scream fans, but they just like
They're
find people and
definitely
yeah.
they're like that's all these
Yeah.
companies care about now is TikTok and influencers. Like even that all these red carpets and stuff, there's a bunch of
Mhm.
red TikTokers walking the red carpets, and it's because and everyone that's there is like, who the hell are they? And it's
Yeah.
because they're the ones that would get the views and the marketing. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not an influencer and I wouldn't know the first thing about it. Like I hate that kind of style, like interviewing people and like I'm not
Mhm.
good at it. I don't
Like
have the
talking to the
social
camera
skills.
constantly, like talking to your phone constantly.
Yeah, it's just not who I am. It's not my brand. I've tried to do it in the past. It's just like, yeah, this is not for me. So they made the right choice to ignore me. Anyway, beyond that. But yeah, I know that the guy who makes the shirts and the jackets and stuff, Small Town Weirdo. I don't know if he was at this one, but I've seen him like do a lot of stuff in the past. Like he did stuff for your favorite. I know you did last summer. So
2025?
yeah. And
Oh,
like, like because he does the retro ones for like the older movies too and stuff like that. But th they are inviting people who are actually fans. I know. Who's the guy who you keep sending me these clips of like
oh my God, I
the
love him.
the dude who just like reenacts the CC and the Tatum and all
Yes.
that.
Has anyone seen this? I'm sure it's made its rounds. I'm always late to everything because I'm not on TikTok. I just like Instagram.
Yeah.
So by
No,
then I feel
like
like pe people have seen it already on TikTok. But it's his name is
yeah.
Coco DeVille, and he keeps making these like Scream. There's him as Jill, and then there's him as oh my God, wait, I can't see
There we go. Yeah,
him as
Tatum.
Tatum. Right there, yeah. And so he like just and he does it so earnestly. That's what makes it so funny is like he looks nothing like these people. He has this big beard and he just does it with such conviction and it makes it so funny.
Well, he did one that was Sarah Michelle Gellar interviewing uh for Scream. Like she's doing promotion for Scream 2.
Yeah, he did that too. Yeah.
And she like it got to her, like it didn't get to her. Like it's like she
She
saw it and
saw it.
posted it in
Yeah.
her stories,
Oh,
which I
that's
thought was
awesome.
was amazing. Yeah.
She's like a
But
social media queen, Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's all
she
over. She must
is.
have hired some good PR over the past couple of years and now she's everywhere.
I
I'm like,
think it was
wow.
like during COVID is when she really kind of, I guess, found
Yeah.
her
They
groove
started
with
with
that.
that like Wolf show, which I knew would go nowhere. Wolf Pack. I was like, this is a silly
Yeah.
show. I'm never, absolutely not. And then I'm sorry if anyone liked it, but I could just tell it was like not going to go anywhere at all. And then that was just like her launching point. I feel like now she's like, okay, great. Now I'm back in, dipped her toe back in the acting world, and now she started acting like crazy.
Mhm.
But I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy about it.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into the Scream Six of it all, but first
Yes.
let's just go over the typical housekeeping. So if you are new to the podcast or if you've been watching and listening for a while, there's a way that you can support us and give back a little if you head over to my Patreon at patreon.com/Zack Cherry. And if you are supporting at the Freddy Krueger tier, I believe that's $5 a month, you can join us in all of these fun little chats that we do here while we're live streaming. As you can see, if you are watching, everyone talking to us or about us in the middle of the screen here.
Hmm.
Also, you get to nominate and vote upon the last episode that we do every month. So I don't have the data in front of me right now, but as to who like nominated it. But it seems as though next week we're going to be covering It Chapter One, the
Ooh,
2017 movie, which I have not seen since the theater. So
I've seen that
everyone,
a good amount of times, I feel.
yeah,
Yeah. But I know it was between that and Cube, and I feel like now I'm gonna watch Cube anyway because I was really excited. I've never seen Cube, but I saw that that was like winning for a little while, so now I'm gonna go and
yeah.
watch Cube too. So thanks for whoever
Cube,
recommended that.
Cube as well, or Cube 2? I know there's like a
Oh,
whole
Cube
slew
as
of cubes.
well.
Yeah.
Cube as well.
Sorry, that's just my literalism,
I
like getting the
love the
better of
literalism.
me.
I love the
Yeah.
literal.
Literal, literal.
Literal.
But yeah,
Suggestion,
there's
David.
yeah, there's a lot of fun perks that come with being a Patreon supporter. such as, monthly reviews, video calls with yours truly. You even get shout outs here, which I'm about to do. So thank you very much to, firstly, our Michael Myers tier. Thank you, Kyle Beard, Sam Levy, Ellie Hamoosh, Shane Ellingham, Tim McKay,
Hey.
Horror Slut 95, Austin Hall. New to the Michael Myers, Final Girl Gemma. Thank you, thank you. Billy's mother, Cara Day, Michael Boswell, Def Con, Michelle Hughes. And then we've got our ghost faces. Thank you very much to Eric Champney, Daniel Saturn, Stephanie Starbright, Baby Ghoul, Garrison Nichols, Craig Lynn, and Josh Burrow.
Woo.
Tim, what is the premise of Scream 6, if you please?
The premise of Scream 6, and I have a proper premise this time. The survivors of the Woodsboro killings leave their hometown behind and try to start fresh in New York City, only to discover that a new Ghostface killer has followed them. And as attacks begin again, they must uncover who is behind the mask and survive another wave of murders in a much bigger, more dangerous setting in Scream 6
Or Screevy.
or Screevy,
Screevy. We've got the Roman numerals for
whatever you prefer.
the first time.
That is it. And
Yeah.
thank you, Adrian Phillips, for the cube recommendation. I just saw that in the chat.
hmm Canadian film.
Ah, well,
Yeah.
speaking of a Canadian film, that's what this is. Scream 6 is a well, basically it takes place where I live in New York City,
hmm
but it's shot where you live in Canada.
Well, it's shot in Montreal. I'm in
Yeah, I knew
Calgary,
that was
so
I was stretching that,
it's
but
a bit Canada's a pretty big, vast landscape. I've actually never been to Montreal. Very interested in going. The thing with Montreal is that it is a very unique and interesting looking city, which is why I find it so funny that they've chosen to shoot Montreal for New York because they have found like the most like bland,
so bland.
banal looking scenery to like double as New York. And it's here's the thing with so firstly, why movies shoot in Canada is because it's just cheaper. You get a tax credit.
Hmm.
Like you have to like hire a predominantly Canadian cast and crew for a lot of things.
Hmm.
Um, but it's just for Hollywood, it's just more lucrative to do things that way. So that's why you have your Jason Takes Manhattans shot in Vancouver, for
Yeah.
instance. Obviously, they did Times Square in Times Square in New York City, but there is nowhere in this other than maybe like establishing drone shots that they use for the movie. Like everything is literally Montreal. And the
I
thing
think
that I
Oh, I was gonna say, I think a movie that did it well was did you ever see that Lindsay Lohan movie, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen?
No, but I'm familiar with the song.
Because they shot somewhere in a great song.
Yeah.
They shot somewhere in Canada and it looked like New York City. Like I didn't, but at the same time, that was 20 years ago. So maybe it doesn't. But from my memory, they did a really good
Yeah.
job. But it was somewhere in Canada. Where do they usually shoot New York City in
I mean, I don't know. Like
Canada?
I think most productions, they usually do the big cities. So it would be Toronto, Montreal, or Vancouver.
Okay.
Sometimes like we get stuff here, more so if like they're doing something more rural that they'll shoot out in the mountains. Actually, there was it must have been like a Hallmark movie or something with Leighton Meester uh
Mm.
that was being shot like downtown here, so like people were like on Instagram and filming it and it showed up in the feed. So Leighton Meester was here actually. It's interesting because all of Gossip Girl is shot in New York City, so I like how did they
Hmm.
afford that?
Well, that was like a different time. Like in the 90s and 2000s,
Yeah,
shows actually shot in New York. Well, I mean, somehow Law and Order has always done it, but
yeah.
it's just really expensive to shut down the streets and
hmm
all that.
Yeah, absolutely. or they find like certain locations. I don't.
Like I've
It's
I've done I've done a commercial in Times Square once, and we shot overnight, and it was like 4 a.m. and we had to have three bodyguards on the set because like some unhoused people would just walk up to us out of nowhere and just like get into the shot and just like stare at the camera, and so then out of nowhere a
mm,
huge bodyguard would just pick them up and walk them off because in New York there's just a lot going on. Like I mean just yeah, so
it's the city that never sleeps,
it's hard to film in it sometimes. Yeah.
which is okay. So for Scream 6, this movie, like in terms of like aesthetic themes, is covering three very distinct things. It is a city that is set, or sorry, it's a movie that is set in New York City. It
Mm-hmm.
is a movie that is set in college, and it is a movie that is set around Halloween. And I feel that it does not like it's trying to embody all three of these things, and it is just completely coming up short because it doesn't feel like New York City. It doesn't feel
Mm-mm.
like a movie set in college, and it certainly doesn't feel like Halloween, other than like
No.
just having this one scene on a subway and you see people in the opening scene like walking around dressed up.
Costumes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that has always been something that has bothered me because it's like you could have just chosen one of those things. Like if you had just decided we're going to commit to New York City per se, uh, then that's fine. Even if it's not shot in New York, somehow have the movie like contextual, like the city contextualized within the movie. There's no landmarks that are used here, and I would feel that like if you're going to go to New York, because this was a huge part of the marketing campaign, is like we're going to New York. There was even stuff shown in the promotional things, which obviously were
Mm-hmm.
not in the movie, but just being like, here's the Big Apple, here's a poster of like the Empire State Building and the knife of like being the top of the building and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
it just feels like this could have been any city. They could have just gone to school in Montreal and
Yeah.
called it Montreal, you know?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I the one shot of them when they run out and they turn onto the street screaming for help and they go into the deli, that street I was kind of using my imagination like, oh, maybe that's West 4th Street. Like even though I know it's not, but I was like
Hmm.
trying to imagine that in my mind like, hey, that could be there. Okay, that I can see. Because you know
Hmm.
I do not believe the Hudson Street in the beginning. I'm like I do not see this as Hudson Street. This is just not Hudson Street. They should have chose a different street name. Um, but yeah, it
And
didn't
this
feel like New York.
alleyway that is like as wide as like two, it's like a two
Yeah.
car lane alley.
Humongous alleyway. They should have really set that opening scene in Financial District because that's where a lot of the city is narrow, old. It's the oldest part of the city. So
Hmm.
if they had it there, a lot of the streets are the old streets. So they're really small, they're really narrow, the buildings are really tall, and it's really hard to, and especially at night, Financial District, all the business people go home at
Hmm.
after work, so the area is like dead and it's like really empty. That would have been such a great area for Samira Weaving to have a chase scene, like
Yeah.
Financial District at night. Um,
Well,
that would have been cool.
I mean, or at the very least, like if you're mostly going to film in Montreal, but if you're going to do something, and because it's like you want this set in New York, you want to contextualize it, have the opening scene be at a landmark or a location. And then if you can sell an audience on like this is New York and here's a landmark that we're at in the opening scene, you could coast for the rest of the movie and just be like, we're still in New York and that makes sense. But as
Yeah,
long as you're doing like one thing, and even
like
if
if
it's
she was
right out
hung
the
off
gate,
of the Statue of Liberty or something.
sure, like
Yeah.
that would be a thing, absolutely, that could be done. Because I think of Scream 3 being set in Hollywood, and that is so contextual to the story. Like it just being set there is part of the plot. Scream 2, I mean it's a college town. That's as much as we know with like Windsor and all that, but it's the setting is the college. Like it makes sense because they go to college there. With this, like again, it could have been any city. I'm glad that it wasn't like Woodsboro again, but for to make such like a grandiose move like that, commit to it. And I feel like they didn't do that. And it's just like everything that happened within this movie could have happened in, they keep mentioning Atlanta. So let's just say they could have gone to Atlanta. no offense
Yeah.
to Atlanta, I've never been there, but I'm just saying
Mhm.
that it's like we're not seeing enough to justify the setting of New York.
Yeah, I don't think they did enough. I think having one scene with Gail at a penthouse, I think that could have been so much cooler. The subway scene was probably like one of the better scenes, ruined by
Mhm.
the marketing. And
I
even the set piece of like the ladder between the two buildings, I thought that was like a
Yeah.
cool idea. If it wasn't such a ridiculous ladder, if the alleyway wasn't humongous.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
think they actually the subway scene is probably the best set piece in my opinion of what they did, just like in terms of like the practical effects and like how they built that and everything, and just like even getting all the costumes on there. I mean, I don't love the scene in its entirety. I feel that there was a lot of work that could be done to make it better. But in terms of like what it was doing, like that felt the most intrinsically New York to me. So like that's, part of like probably the aspect of the movie that I lean more into than anything else. But I will say that like I don't think that they ruined that scene in the trailer or the teaser. I actually liked what they were doing with the Scream 6 marketing because that was the first thing they released in it, and it like got me excited for it. And that's we're talking about Scream 7 and how it's like kind of like amped up the marketing in the last couple of weeks, but we got that like subway scene way earlier on in terms of the timeline. So I don't know. I liked what they were doing with that, and I liked seeing that because I mean that's probably what they were doing strategically. It's just like this is the most New York thing that we have in this movie, so like we need to
Yeah.
sell that.
And they rebuilt the train station so it did look
Hmm.
authentic. Like they used I don't know if they actually used a subway car or if they just rebuilt a subway car. I forget which one they said. I think they like had one shipped there.
Yeah, something like that.
But so that looked authentic, and the stops that they stop at were pretty authentic too. Like they
Hmm.
made sense for the train that they were supposed to be on.
Yeah.
Because in some movies they're just like going at 81st, and I'm like, on
Hmm.
that train? That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
So
it was just one station set, and then they would like use lighting to make it
yeah,
seem like they
and I think
were
they might.
traveling.
I think we might have seen the numbers at a different train station, like 96th Street. I think they might have like changed those.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, and then where they get off at the theater is Court Square, 23rd Street. That's in Queens. Um, so yeah, Gail lives up on 96th Street in Manhattan, and then they go downtown on that train, and then they must transfer to a different train, and go to Queens.
yeah,
But yeah. So it's just a
yeah.
little fun. I like to imagine all that stuff because I know that it didn't really happen in New York. So I'm like, this is what it was supposed to be,
Hmm.
you know.
So they would have had to like transfer and get off the train and go on to like a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
I can suspend disbelief for something like that. Like that things like that don't bother me. Probably for like a real New Yorker, they'd be like, oh, it takes way longer than that. But
No, I thought that they did that actually really good. I knew from the trailer that it was going to be Mindy that was like taken out in that scene. Um,
mhm.
I would have liked it if she died in that scene.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
for sure.
we we can get to that, but
Yeah.
Jackie Simmons is saying one classroom scene, that's all I wanted. So like let's talk about the lack of the college aspect of this
Yeah.
too, because that's a huge thing that is just completely missing. I think that the Samara Weaving's character is supposed to be a professor, or at least a professor to the Jason character, but I would assume Mindy as well, or like all of because like Mindy's like that's that chode from our film studies class.
Yeah.
So
And if it isn't it like an intro to film studies class? I think, isn't it
sure.
intro? So if it
Yeah.
is, that would mean that all film majors have to take that class,
Hmm.
most likely.
Um, I think it's funny that we have no idea what Tara is taking. She's talking about, like she's here to graduate and go to school, and this is like a big part of her life, and it's just like, but what do you do? Like it's
What are
just
your
like that,
interests?
yeah, like the movie was not interested in letting us know anything about her in that capacity.
I know
Um,
Sydney was like a theater major. You could like see her like trying her best. I don't know. You had no idea what these girls were doing.
no, absolutely not. And it just felt like the school part of it really just existed in the opening scene, and we're not even at the school. We are outside of it, and it's like the weekend, and they're talking about it. And I guess that like he gave her a or she gave him a C minus on his giallo paper, and that's why he killed her and all like whatever the situation was. Um, but yeah, just like the opening in and of itself feels like, and like this is a problem that I've had with a lot of the opening scenes within the franchise, is that it's just a gimmick. And like
Yeah.
we're just sort of doing something to be like, oh, gotcha. But what I would have liked is to have, if that's the way that they were going with it, like allow that to play into the rest of the movie. Like have have him like survive the
Yeah.
opening scene.
And have that be part of it.
Commit to like the full like 13 minutes of whatever it is and then unmask him at the end and then see like, oh, he's the killer, now we're following him, and then like title card, and then like slowly start to like introduce the Baileys or whatever, that there's like two things going on here, and that's the misdirection, like just to confuse the audience, to actually like have the twist land more than just like within the first 5 minutes of the movie. And even beyond that, if they were just going to do that in the opening scene, I actually think it would have been more interesting if Samara Weaving turned out to be the killer. Like at least like this like opening scene killer. Like say like she
Oh,
invited this guy out on a date and then she lures him into the alley. I guess the only thing is she wouldn't have killed him as a ghost face, but like it's almost like the first scene in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show, where
Darla.
it's like the subverting of the expectations. You see like Darla and this like renegade break into the school, and you think that he's the dangerous one. She's this like goody goody Catholic schoolgirl, and she's just like, I thought I heard something. Are we safe
Hmm.
here? Is like, is anybody here? Like, no. Good. Turns around, transforms into a vampire, bites him. Like
Such a good
that sort
fake
of,
out.
that's the subversion I want to see. Like Samara Weaving's character is so pointless at the end of the day, but even beyond that, I would have rather spent time with her than like this Jason dude when we go back to the house, and they're just I guess maybe the joke is that these killers are very incompetent because he like kills her, takes off the mask, and then he chooses to like look to make sure no one has seen him.
Hmm.
So maybe that's what they were trying to do with him, but
And
I
I
don't
feel like
know.
they must have used Tony as like the actual, I don't know if he was in the costume when he was stabbing Samira, if that was
Hmm.
actually him or not, because he looked much shorter than her. Like whoever was in
Hmm.
the costume did look actually for the first time, like actually look his height. And I know she had these like huge high heels on too, which I also,
I
loved.
thought of you the moment I saw them, just like Tim
Yeah,
loves
the
this.
the
Yeah.
close up. Oh, I had an ear to ear smile in the theater when I was
Yeah.
like these huge heels because I'm like, yes, like let's bring back characters like dressing up in movies
Hmm.
once in a while. Like I would have loved if she was able to like rip open that dress and like so that she could run and like maybe like tried making it down a few like tight alleyways and like almost like a Helen Shivers thing right before she could get help, she gets taken out kind of
Yeah.
thing. I would have preferred that. And then I really don't like I thought it was cool with the Tony aspect. I thought maybe they were going to do like a true crime kind of angle with the movie, like because they even talked about it at one point in the film
Hmm.
with Gail. So like she brings it up true crime docs and stuff. So I thought they were going to go with that aspect of it, and we'd follow, like you said, one killer through the movie, maybe, knowing who one is, and then maybe there's another killer who we don't know. But I thought that scene was so boring. Like they rushed Samira's scene, which I thought was a little more interesting, and then they kind of his scene I feel like drags on so long with the phone call and he's walking around the apartment and like the hot and cold game.
Hmm.
I always fast forward through that now. And like and then I love how he dies, but
Hmm.
like how
Well,
aggressive it is.
yeah,
Anyway.
Amethyst Frost is saying making Jason an Argento stand when they were recreating Tenebrae's twist badly was a slap in the face. Um, uh, that just felt like they were trying to be clever by like throwing all of these references in to things, and like Giallo, he has like this Four Flies on Gray Velvet. Sure, there's all the posters in the apartment, but then there's like Stab. So it's Jason and I guess Greg are just like very strange horror aficionados to me because they've got like their taste in movies is either like 1920s, like Dracula, Phantom of the Opera, Nosferatu. I think they've got like a Rosemary's Baby in there somewhere. There's like Metropolis. And then they have stab posters, which is just like
Hmm.
it couldn't be the complete opposite end of the spectrum of just like what a horror fandom is, because stab is just like I know that they're trying to make Stab seem like it's this like the Scream franchise, but
Yeah, the Scream franchise.
it's not. It's Stab. They're
Yeah.
schlocky, crappy movies
Schlock.
that are based on like true crime. And beyond that, even if the Stab movies were Scream, it's still like such a huge leap for all of their taste in movies to either be from like the 20s and the late 90s going into the 2000s. So I just like I question like the intention of these characters and just like or the writing of what these characters are. Even in the script for the movie, it's like they're describing the rooms, like the bedrooms, and he's like,
Hmm.
he has a bedroom for this movie and this podcast and this and like in like parentheses, it's like non-negotiable, which is just like, whoa, that's brazen
Whoa.
in a screenplay, but it's just like way to take a reader out of it as well. Um, but I agree. I think that this is my least favorite opening, followed closely by the Scream 4 thing, just of all the fake outs, because I prefer to see the escalation of a scene. Like I wanna be introduced to a character. I want to have that tension just sort of like wind up tighter and tighter until the very end when Ghostface jumps out. And I also again, and I feel that I'm interested to see what happens with Scream Seven's opening scene, but just like, is it going to be another fourth wall break with like Ghostface slashing into the title card? Because
Yeah,
I
slashing the camera.
I much prefer to like end it on the victim, like just like the same way we do with Drew Barrymore and Jada Pinkett in the first two.
Yeah, I agree. I hope that with this movie that they bring back a little bit more heart as far as like the victims that are being killed off in the movie. I feel like
Hmm.
something that Wes Craven did so well was that you truly cared for everyone that was killed. Every victim, like you felt bad for, like Cece Cooper, even if they had a small role, like you got to know them a little bit and you could sense like a little bit, like you feel bad for them a little bit. I feel like he was really good
Yeah,
at that. Whereas the past two films, like just random people die and it's just kind of like meaningless violence. And I just feel like that it
yeah,
it's not as impactful. And I hope that in this new Scream 7, I hope that even if your role is small and you get killed off, I hope that the writing is there and I hope that it's portrayed in a way where you really feel bad for each character.
I agree. Yeah. Grant Dempsey saying would have been fun to have Jason as part of the friend group too in that case. And like that's kind of what it was presented as. It's just sort of like he's sees Tara. Tara is in the opening scene when she runs into him, and it's just like, is Sam gonna be there? Like it's
Hmm.
then like, why are you so obsessed with, like, if I was Tara, I'd be like, why are you so obsessed with my sister? She doesn't even go to this college. Like, how do you know so much about her? Like I just have so many questions when it comes to these these characters and this like side plot of an opening scene that doesn't like that are just completely left unanswered.
Like that would tell me that I guess Sam comes around a lot, like to pick her up from class maybe, and
Yeah.
they just think that she's like the hot, older, edgy girl who dyed her
Yeah,
hair
are they
black
do
for
they
this
have a
movie.
is it they have a thing for her? Like, is that the like, because there's another
That's what it
thing
seems
just
like, but
it
also they want to kill her
but it
too.
also made it seem like these two were kind of maybe a couple, a gay couple.
Oh,
Unless he was just being
I just
like
thought they were like,
ironic when he's like, "Honey, I'm home."
oh, that's so. Oh, I just thought they were like bros. I just thought they were bros that like
Yeah.
live together. They just have that kind of like straight gay joke humor.
Hmm. Davy B. Jones says, I personally think I would have liked the movie more if Jason wasn't a fake out and actually was the killer, and we had to guess who the other two were. Yeah, that would have
Hmm.
been interesting. Kirby could have been a visiting professor or filmmaker who was familiar with Samara Weaving's character instead of an FBI agent. Then the
Hmm.
setup for her chat with Mindy would have made more sense. Um, God, the Kirby. Let's put off Kirby for a while because I feel like we need
Okay.
to go in order here of just like
Yeah.
the sequence
Yeah.
of events because it's just The thing with this movie that just like that really bugs me is that
Hmm.
characters are making stupid decisions left, right, and center, all in the service of plot happening. And it's
Completely.
just and it feels like, especially with like Sam, of where she came from in Scream 5, that I would expect a lot more. Like with Sydney in the first movie, she was obviously like very naive, but she was learning in real time. Like she was getting smarter as it was going on. And by Scream 2, I don't think that she was like fully at that point yet, but she had still taken the lessons that she learned from the first movie and applied them in Scream 2. And I feel like Sam is just making the same mistakes over and over again. And it just doesn't feel realistic to kind of like everything that happened to her, and like, dating a serial killer and having that, like the trust issues of that. Like they're presenting that with Danny in a way, but it's just, he's the one that's like telling her you shouldn't trust me then. Like
Hmm.
she doesn't even have the agency to come up with that idea on her own.
Um, because well, did he say that after she told him not to come in?
I mean, this is a beat that's repeated like several times throughout the movie, but like
Yeah.
in the way that they present the relationship is that she's just not ready to be close to someone right now. But
Yeah.
she's still like she's hooking up with him. They're clearly like it's not the fact that she doesn't want to be in a relationship with him. She just doesn't want to make it official. She doesn't want the friends to know about it. And it's just like,
Yeah.
but why can't they know about it? How is that different? Like, how is that the effect of being betrayed by your ex-boyfriend, that you just don't want your friends to know about it?
Maybe they just don't like want she doesn't want like everyone to be suspicious of him and then like looking into him and like maybe she doesn't think that he's important enough yet for all that
Hmm.
attention. So she's just trying to like, string him
Yeah.
along until then, until he's a
Sorry,
bigger
I'm just
deal in
trying
her
to go
life.
down to the bottom of the chat. No, that's totally fair, but it Danny always feels to me like a complete afterthought. Like sometimes when I think of the characters in the movie, I forget that he's a character in it, and I was just like, oh yeah, there's also the boyfriend because he's so inconsequential.
There's just too many characters in this movie. There's way too many
Hmm.
characters in it. I think Kirby's doesn't need to be in it. Like Chad felt unnecessary, and I like Chad, but I just feel like everyone was tried to get like Mindy, Chad. There's what's the other roommate's name? The
Quinn.
redhead. Yeah,
Yeah.
Quinn. I just feel like there was just so many characters that like everyone had to kind of get a little bit of like a backstory in a little bit, and it just didn't really work. Like Chad and like Chad's whole thing in this movie was that he liked Tara, and it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but this is a problem that I had with like 5 to 6, is that Chad is dating Liv in 5, and then
Hmm.
has absolutely no screen time with Tara or relationship to speak of. And then suddenly in this movie, they're just like they're like forcing this and just being like,
Yeah.
yes, we are, like there's a chemistry, there's like an attraction between us. And I just feel like it wasn't earned. They didn't really lay the groundwork in the
No.
previous film. It was just sort of like, oh, we need these characters to like hook up or whatever. And I mean, I don't think that Chad was unnecessary. Like the twins definitely needed to be in this movie.
Hmm.
Um, it's just sort of like with Sam, I feel like there is so much going on with her. Like we are introduced to her in a therapy session, and she's just talking about like this darkness inside of her that's followed her there. Whatever it is, there's so much like complexities going on with Sam, and then they introduce this whole thing with the boyfriend and like her relationship with Tara, and it just feels like there's too many threads. They're overcomplicating the situation. It's just like pick a struggle that you want
Hmm.
to, be the spine of the movie for this character and go with that. And it's the same thing with like, being New York and college and Halloween. It's just like you need to
Yep.
hone in on like what you're doing with her, because it's just like by the end of the movie, there's it doesn't make sense with this character. It feels like they've repeated the same kind of story from Scream 5 beat for beat. Like she doesn't really transform into a new character in this one. Like she just like regresses back and then goes through the whole process again. And I think that trimming the fat would have been a great idea. Like get rid of the boyfriend,
Hmm.
like focus more on her relationship with Tara if that's going to be more so the spine of things, and focus more on like this urge that she has, this like urge to kill, rather than just kind of like, oh well, everything in my and people think that I'm a killer. She's getting like cherry Coke thrown on her in the
Well,
streets, and
yeah, that part it just doesn't really make sense to me because, well, first of all, the serial killer thing, it's not like it like runs in the family. Like she doesn't it's her father was a serial killer because of a very specific reason. I feel like
Mhm.
that like made him snap. His mom leaving him made him snap, and then that like he so it was all very targeted and very specific. It's not like he grew up killing animals as far as we knew, and like he it wasn't like his father before him was a killer. So it's not like this like gene. I just think that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And then also the therapy session I just thought was like so overly expository. It kind of felt like one of those moments where it's like in a movie where it's like,
Mm.
I bet you're wondering how I got here. And because that's where she was talking like, and then I stabbed him 500 times and I slit his throat and she just is coming. It just felt very like,
It well, but it was also like retelling things that we already knew. So it was almost
yeah,
like in the old days when movies like VHS and like physical media didn't exist. So like the Friday the 13th Part 2 is a really good example of this, where Alice is having a nightmare for the first 10 minutes of the movie, and it's literally just showing everything that happened in Friday the 13th Part 1 at the like
hmm,
the climax with the fight with Mrs. Voorhees. And the reason that's there is because there was like, it's just sort of like previously on Friday the 13th, this is what happened because people didn't own the physical media to watch it at home yet, or at least it wasn't as widely available.
yes,
So yeah, it very much felt like one of those things of just her explaining it. Um, but I also feel like they missed the mark with the therapist character because I mean, I had my speculation going into the movie and like who I thought could be the killer, and I think that he would have made a very interesting killer, but they weren't interested in having him as anyone other than this like shitty therapist. I think that it might have been more interesting, even if they're planning to kill him off in like several scenes later, have this therapy session be sort of like a sanctuary away from like the craziness of Sam's
yeah.
life. Like let him be a good therapist to her
They're
and
not
like
good at red herrings. These writers are not
mhm.
good at red
Yeah.
herrings. It's been proven in both films with like
Yeah.
the guy, what's the guy that got stabbed in the neck first last
Vince,
movie?
yeah,
Vince, like they just
Adrian,
every time they set up a red herring for us, they like
mhm.
kill off the character right away. Or they
Yeah,
like prove right away that it's not them. So it's like,
yeah.
okay, you slipped the rug out from us for a minute.
Yeah, Adrian Phillips is saying Dr. Stone is the Vince of this movie. But I don't even know if like
Yeah,
he was set up as a red herring. He just like was kind of set up as a shitty therapist. And I think that it's,
he could have
this
been
was
a
a
red
chance
herring.
to like, he could have been like the Gus character to Sydney in Scream 2, that like the David Warner, who's the drama professor, and just sort of been like this rock for her. And then even if like you're gonna have the killer come back and kill him somehow, like let that affect Sam. Like I feel like the deaths in this movie don't really
Yeah.
affect anyone, and that's mostly because nobody of any consequence dies other than Annika.
Yeah.
And it's funny, they released like a t-shirt of like it's like the Scream Kill Tour, and it's like all the deaths throughout the movie, and
Yeah.
you have like the Tatums and the CCs
Hmm.
and the Jennifer Jolies and all that, and you get down to Scream 6, and it's like bodega customer number one, and bodega clerk,
I can't.
and
Yeah.
man in bathtub, and Brooks, Gail's boyfriend, and like, and it's just like none of these people matter, and even like Annika, because like the person that I guess would be the most affected by that is Mindy, but like by the time they get to the shrine, she's just back to being like joking around, and they're like doing their movie trivia and like what's your favorite, like like
She's
it doesn't feel
completely
like the
over it.
stakes really have any effect on the characters.
Yeah.
So it does feel like there's the heart of the movie really is missing. Like they're
Exactly.
not doing it successfully. They're not setting it up as a murder mystery. And you talked about the backstories of the characters and just sort of like the certain characters that are pointless. I so I was spoiled going into Scream 6 because they had released or someone had leaked the footage of
Oh no.
uh the three killers and like Bailey was standing between the two ghost faces, and then Ethan takes off his mask. So we didn't see who the third ghost face was, but by the very nature of the fact that Quinn is like his daughter and was like very much promoted as like being a character who was Bailey's daughter, I'm like, oh well, Quinn's the other killer.
Yeah, we all knew
And
that.
I didn't, the thing is, I didn't know who they were or like what their motive was, but the way that the writing was in this like scene where like the characters are kind of like congregating at the apartment, Quinn is the only one that really has any sort of backstory. Where she's just like, well, my brother died and blah blah, and I'm like, oh, they're Richie's family. Like immediate,
Immediately,
yeah, yeah.
immediately from the very first time you watch this movie, it's like, like pointless backstory, like unnecessary backstory drop.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, cool. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, like that you it's obviously like the Wes Craven movies did it like we're able to like thread these clues like really craftily where it's not so obvious because they're at least like giving everyone a chance to have something like in Scream 4. You know, like you have her publicist who's just very opportunistic,
hmm,
and you know Robbie, like the kid with the camera, you know, he's got his like live streaming and stuff. So it's just like, here's a potential motive that like if you, you know, if this person was the killer, but just because it's so obvious, because they like throw it out there, it's like, okay, well, this person is like clearly because they're very opportunistic. They're probably not the killer. This is just sort of like something to make you suspicious of them if it could be this angle. So when you have all of these characters in Scream 6, and none of them are really defined by anything other than being in the friend group. And then you have Quinn just like randomly dropping this. It's just like, okay, well, I guess we don't have to look any further because we know who it is and like what it is. And, you know, by the time we get to her fake out kill, which again, like off-screen kills at this point are just like a telltale sign. It's just like, well, this person faked it.
yeah. I I agree, and I want to definitely talk about Quinn's death scene in general because I just don't understand how that worked. And I also don't understand how did Quinn start the rumor in general about Sam being the killer because didn't wasn't the whole thing that Gail went ahead and wrote the book that actually of the true story of what happened? So wouldn't it be out there the true story? And like I know it's just a conspiracy and that's like to touch on conspiracy
Yeah.
culture, but for people to be throwing drinks at you in the street and everyone to be talking crap about you everywhere you go and like every single thing is I'm like it seems a little bit more than just a little conspiracy. It seems like that's the general consensus is that Sam actually was the real killer and got away with it. And it's like
Yeah.
no, there's like so much proof. There was other people. There's like Sidney Prescott. There's Gail Weathers. Like there's all these people that would have been like, no, this is what definitively happened. We were there for it.
Yes.
So and it would be a public, national, huge story. It would be a huge story. So like, why are they acting like no one really knows what happened that night? It might be Sam. Like no, everyone. There's a outline of what happened that night. Like I don't know.
You know, absolutely. This goes back to like what we were saying last week of how are they just framing Sam for it when there was clearly the case where there was like she was in the same vicinity as like another killer where multiple witnesses saw that and testified or just like gave their statement to the police. So it doesn't make sense. It feels very contrived. It's just like this
Mhm.
movie is doing so much that just like, well, we just have to do this and then that can happen, therefore.
No, text
So,
messages would be analyzed. Like they would
yeah.
find all the conversations that they had between each other. That would all be found. The FBI would have all of that stuff. Um,
No, absolutely.
and
It's
they would
just like
find no communications between them and Sam.
they're
So
trying to like do a thing of like cancel culture is like part of what this is. The same way that like Scream 5 is about toxic fandoms. And it just feels like they couldn't commit to it. They're just like it's a very loose thread. I find it very confusing what the killer's plan is ultimately. And actually, like when I left the theater the first time I saw this, I just assumed that they were trying to frame Sam, but it's very convoluted. What they're actually trying to do is make Sam appear to be the killer so much that somebody online decides that she is the killer and that they're going to come and intervene and take care of her themselves to then like rid the world of this like pariah.
killer,
And
yeah.
that's the person that they're framing a nobody, or it's just going to be at the end of the day they're just being like, well, I guess that we don't know who the killer was. It was just someone who saw this online. Um,
Mm.
which just like it's that's so complicated. It's just it's like way
Yeah.
to like add so much extra steps to a plan when you could have just done it more simply this way. Like it didn't feel
Well,
like well it
same
just
could
didn't
be
feel.
said. Oh, sorry.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say same could be said for the opening scene, like going out of his way to match with a teacher on Tinder, like or on whatever app that is. Like they just like he had to coincidentally match with her. That's like
Yeah.
pretty hard to do. Like that's like a big coincidence if you guys match, and then like for her to agree to go on a date, and then like wouldn't it be
Yeah.
easier if you had just done a student? I don't know.
But then beyond that, if the killers in the opening, if their plan is to kill Sam and Tara, and
Hmm.
the Baileys are trying to find someone to pin the murders on, why not just let that happen? It's just like these people are
Yeah.
going to kill. I know that Bailey says, like, well, we wanted to do it ourselves. We had to be the ones to do it. But it's just like, then let Jason and Greg survive. Like, let them be alive long enough that by the end of the movie,
Yeah.
you can kill them too, and then pin it on them. Like,
Exactly.
their plan throughout the movie has just become so convoluted. They're like, even if you look at certain things, like by the time Bailey decides, oh, let's do this sting operation in the park. I don't know why we had to go to this park specifically and wait for
Yeah.
a phone call. Like it just like everything about that is just is mind-boggling. But they're gonna like trace this call and then it's gonna lead to Gail. It's just like if your whole plan was to get Gail alone and have and like take her out or whatever the case may be, why would you want to create this circumstance where you're going to potentially fuck that up by having Sam and Tara like intervene and then decide that they're going to go chase after it? It's like they have all this good luck and then they do everything to make it more difficult for themselves. And somehow, but by the grace of God, by the grace of the Scream gods, they still manage to fail upwards as killers and have everything work out for them.
I know. I really felt like there was such like a ragtag group of goofballs by the end, like when you finally find out who they are, and it's just kind of
Yeah.
like they almost come across like this like hillbilly hick family that's like, yeah, ma, pa, like almost maybe I'm thinking of like House of a Thousand Corpses, like something like, kind of like that. Like that's what they were coming across as by the
Yeah.
end. Like it just so far everyone in this family is a murderer. Um and and yeah, and just how everything worked out for them. Like I just feel like the writers knew what they wanted to happen, and then they just quickly would write in little lines of explanation of like, oh, how Quinn became their roommate and how Chad became roommates with
Mhm.
another killer and her brother. It just seems very, I don't know. It could have been good. There's so many things that could have been there.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a really good point as well. It's like everyone in this family is a murderer now.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was like something that was cut in the script where the wife, like Bailey's wife, didn't want to go through with it. So then they killed her, or like he had Ethan kill her. So it's just like you killed your own wife for this. Like I guess they're just trying to show like how dark these people were. But it it also like brings up the plot hole of like who is Bailey? Like they're faking their identities because
Hmm.
they are not the Baileys. They're the Kirsches.
Yeah.
Unless like the opposite of that is to say that Richie Kirsch is a fake identity and that it's actually Richie Bailey or whoever Bailey. But then it that wouldn't make any sense. Like wouldn't they Gail and her book and like writing about it and finding out
Yeah.
and even that like not knowing like not looking into the family members of this killer, especially when that happened with Mrs. Loomis like way back when. It just feels sloppy on Gail's part. But like beyond that, it's how is Detective Bailey a police officer? Like how is he able to transfer and be performing his job under a fake
He can do whatever he
identity?
wants. He can do anything he wants. He can switch police teams. He can like get his daughter into school, into this like super
Hmm.
expensive college in New York City, which is like bringing her to NYU. Like you could
Yeah.
just like transfer. You can just do that.
Yeah.
And your son, who's also a murderer, you got into the same school.
Yeah.
It
It's
all
just
seems very
yeah.
lucky.
And then like beyond the hypocrisy of like these killers is the fact that they're like their whole thing or like is like Sam, you're the daughter of a serial killer and therefore like we're gonna punish you for that because like you it's like essentially you got and like this is the same thing. She was just better at it. But like you are a father who has like three children who are all serial killers now, and you're killing people, but you're not even killing the people responsible. You're killing these innocent bystanders. It's just like, oh, there's so much about this movie that just frustrates me. And there's so like people are commenting in the chat, and I feel like I'm missing so much of what is said. But
Well, were they all always killers, or was it just like Richie, and then like over the years he was just like getting his son all this evidence, which is like already illegal, and he was just like,
mhm.
well, just in case you decide to grow up and be a killer one day, I'm just gonna raise my kids as these psychopaths, stealing
Yeah.
evidence from these major famous crime scenes that somehow goes unnoticed. It's not a
Well,
national story. Hey, evidence all stolen, like
mhm.
from these major, yeah.
But that was my theory is that like Wayne Bailey was like initially a like he's a career criminal and then he was able to like fake his identity as like get in as a cop. I met Dermot Mulroney at a comic convention. I asked him about this. I'm like, so like is like who is the real like Wayne Bailey? Like what is like was
Uh-huh.
he always a cop? Like how was he able to do this? And he was just as confused as I was. He's just like,
Oh
well, he's
no.
originally from Woodsboro. Like he was just like recounting it. And I'm like, well, how does that make sense? And he was like, oh, I have no idea then. So maybe there was like an earlier draft he was from Woodsboro and the writers just decided that they changed it and they didn't tell him or something. Like they're like, this is your backstory. And then they realized, well, that doesn't make any sense because why would Detective Bailey originally be from Woodsboro?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. It's it's a lot, yeah. Davy B. Jones, did the other people in the police department know about who Wayne really was, or did they just not care? On second thought, probably the latter. That actually feels pretty realistic to me. Yeah, very possible. I'm like you said, it's just like he almost had this like godlike power to do anything he wanted as a police officer.
Yeah, like he could get himself on the case. Like he could do anything he
Hmm.
wanted, pretty much. He could
Yeah.
frame Sam.
Hmm.
What else is the chat saying? Anything?
So Jackie Simmons, with decades worth of evidence in the shrine, it's obvious law enforcement was involved. Police stations keep records and chain of custody. Bailey didn't think that through.
And wouldn't they be all over, like in different states? Like, because all the crimes happened in different states. Not all the crimes, but like somewhere in
Yeah.
California, somewhere in Ohio. So like, wouldn't the evidence be distributed in different places?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know
at
how that
least,
works.
yeah, because like at that point, there would have been three Woodsboro uh, cases and one in Hollywood and one in, is it Ohio? Is that where Windsor is?
I thought it was supposed to be in Ohio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
but they
I mean,
shot it
who,
in Georgia.
sure. Yeah, it's that I didn't really think too hard about. The thing with the shrine, it's actually it is impressive to me that level of detail and just sort of like going back and getting
If it worked
all
out better. I like the
yeah.
idea if they had done it better. Yeah.
No, absolutely. From like an art department side of things, like I appreciate the challenge of that and just and doing it because it's fun to like look through that and be like, oh, that's from that, that's from that. But it really does speak to like what this new era of Scream is more interested in, which is more of like fan service and little
Member
Easter
berries.
eggs like that, because it's more about like we're thinking less about the characters and the mystery and the plot and all that, and more of like, oh, did you see this thing from here? And there's this outfit, and like that's really cool. And I mean, I feel that like that's who's being pandered to with this movie. It's just like people that would see that. Did you say member berries?
Member berries.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's totally that. It's just
It
like,
felt like it felt like a theme park ride. That's what this movie kind of felt like. Like, remember this? Like when you're waiting in line for a theme park ride, like at like Disney or something like that, and it's like themed. So like while you're walking through, you can like look at stuff and be like, oh, look at that. Remember that from the movie? Like that's kind of
mm,
what that room felt like to me a little bit. And then also Gail kind of felt that way to me too. Like she didn't really feel real in this movie to me. Like the way she pops in and she's like, "Hey," it's almost like, "Remember me?" Like, "Hey kids," and then like, "Whoa," hit in the face again. Like,
yeah.
remember that? Like everything felt like, remember this? Remember this from a better movie? Yeah.
I'm gonna do you one better. It doesn't feel like a theme park ride to me because that's what I equate the Dark Castle movies to. This feels like walking through the gift shop on the way out of the museum.
Okay. Yeah. There you
That's what
go.
Scream 6
Oh,
is to me. It's just
yeah.
like, by the way, like
A
stuff,
themed gift shop.
don't forget to buy some props and paraphernalia
Souvenirs.
and
Yeah.
yeah, like little
Mhm.
things like that that are just cheaply made and whatnot. But yeah, Gail is another anomaly because well she enters the movie I think like by the 40-minute mark. It's like Kirby comes in first. But like the whole first
Mhm.
section, it's because it's sort of like switching up the I guess the template for how these are done. Because usually we start like the night before and then we go into the next day and everything is like happening on the same night. And we're at this party, this frat party, and everything about it feels so CW to me. Like it feels like
Yes.
television. It's very flat, very uncinematic. And again, this is just sort of like the way that it's shot and like the lenses and just like the color grading and all that. But it it doesn't feel like Scream. Like this is probably the least Scream like film of the franchise.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I just feel like it was a stupid scene too because like yeah, the guy was kind of a douchebag, but he wasn't really doing anything wrong until he got called out on the stairs by Chad, and then he like randomly just aggressively grabs Tara and like tosses her down. I'm like, okay, well that wasn't happening before. Like he wasn't
Yeah.
like I mean, he was like probably a douche, but like everything was fine up until so it just kind of seemed like they turned him into a villain real quick so that like Sam could come in and be like, this is who I am now. I'm edgy and I don't put up with anything. Like I bring a taser, even though no one has tasers. But like I, like
Yeah.
what is this? Batman Returns? Like,
Well, Wes and Judy did in Scream 5, but yeah, you bring up a
well,
really good
true.
point is that like characters make these like sudden like knee-jerk reactions that are out of character for them, even for someone like this Frankie guy who is a non-character, that he suddenly becomes that because the movie requires him to at that point. And it's interesting because it's like what they're doing with Tara here. Like she's drunk and then she's like not, and then she's like cool with going upstairs, and then she's like, oh, I guess he was taking advantage of me. And it's just like she had like the full agency over what was happening. But beyond all that, like why I hate all of this is because none of it pertains to anything throughout the rest of the movie. This character, like this Frankie character, is meaningless. Like this is
Hmm.
kind of set up to have like the Sam and Tara argument when they're
Yes.
walking through the park, and then also like to plant the seeds for the Tara Chad of it all.
And
And
the let me go of it all
yeah, which
by the
again,
end.
like we were talking about last week, where it's just like Scream 5, their whole relationship is like, I need a sister. You've been away, and now suddenly you're just like, well, I didn't need you that much, so you need to back off a little bit. And it's just
Less than
like,
a year later.
yeah, again, pick a fucking lane,
Yeah.
people.
That would be overwhelming, but at the same time, you went through something pretty horrific. And Tara, you almost died like 500 times. So like I don't know how you're of all
Uh,
people are annoyed.
so Gail kind of comes into the movie, and we find out that she's written this book that we already talked about. And
Hmm.
in this, I guess this is like the way that they're sort of connecting the online conspiracy theories because Gail slanders Sam and whatever this is, and it turns out to be this this whole ordeal. Like it's created conflict between Gail and the Carpenter sisters off screen. And this always bugged me for a couple of reasons. Like, firstly, it's sort of a regression of who Gail was by the end of Scream 5. Like she had
Totally.
just sort of like decided that like it was more important for her to write about Dewey rather than about these like she's like those fuckers can die in anonymity is what she says specifically. Um, so for her to kind of like backpedal on that, I mean that is one thing, like that's a very real thing that could happen, but I feel like we never really visit that process for her. We never really find out like why she did it other than just like it's my job to do this. and yada yada yada. And it's so much of like the conflict again feels just forced. It just feels like it's there because they need to have something there.
No, I agree. Like they, if anything, they have this really sentimental speech at the end of five when she's like, "I'm gonna write about a good man who used to be sheriff in this town." Like just like this, like really like hallmark ending, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, and then like I said, the way she pops in is almost like, "Aha, it's me, Gail." Like remember me, and just like someone was gonna write about
Yeah.
it. Like I'm a villain again because I'm Gail. I'm the theme park version of what this like franchise
And
has to offer.
And why is Gail like a field reporter again? Like we in five we see
Downgrade.
her, yeah, in five we see her like she's sitting behind a news desk, like she is
Yes.
an anchor of her own show. So she's suddenly like out and about, just hanging out, waiting for Sam and Tara to leave the police station.
Yeah, that's so true.
Hmm.
Because at this point, when you're like, especially 5 days a week, when you're at a desk and you have a morning show, it's like they're not like, okay, you also have to be ready all day long to go out into the reporting field too in New York City.
Hmm.
No.
I guess it's just like anytime there's anything like Ghostface related, she's like flocks to it.
Yeah, that's true.
But it still feels like her entrance into the movie just it felt like abrupt and not in a good way. Not in sort of like
No.
a twist. Because she did call her, like remember the phone rang and it was Gail and Sam uh hung up on it and ignored it.
Hmm.
But it just it begs so many questions. And then when they're going away in the cab, Tara says something. It's just like you're just trying to stay relevant because you think that without Ghostface in your life, you're just going to fade away or something like this.
Hmm.
And I feel like they're again with Gail, they're not able to pick a lane with what they're doing with her. Is she afraid of becoming irrelevant, or does she feel irrelevant because Dewey is dead and no longer in her life, even though he's not been in her life for like so many years? But like, what are we exploring? Are we exploring like Gail's need to stay in the spotlight and be relevant that way, or are we exploring the hole that's been left behind by Dewey's death? And it just feels again they can't pick a lane with her as a character.
I know. I feel like they kind of tried to touch on that at the end when they have that sentimental moment with her and Sam at the theater, and Sam's like,
Hmm.
"Well, how do you do it?" And if you only have one person, you lose that one person. And then clearly she's talking about Dewey. The music starts playing, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Well, you keep moving on, and you end up completely going back on what you said you would do, and you tarnish all your friends in a public
Yeah.
book,
I mean,
um,
even though that is
drag them
moment
through
is
the mud."
extremely saccharine, I think that it's probably the most heartfelt moment, like the most probably authentic moment between two characters in the whole film that doesn't feel forced.
Well, one
Um,
part I will say, one part that I did like was the conversation of Sam and Tara when they're at the table before the twins sit down with them, and she says that it's really hard having everyone hate you, and because people online can be really mean,
mhm.
they say really mean things, and so like I like that they kind of were touching
Yeah.
on like how alone she felt and isolated she felt because everyone on the internet hates her. So I kind of
And
like that moment.
that was supposed to be like really meta as well, because like people were really hating on Melissa post
Hmm.
Scream 5 because of her performance,
Yeah.
uh, or as we were talking about the takes that were used for certain things. So it was like directly almost like referencing the actress. Um, but I don't really like that scene because like anything to do with like core four usually really ticks me off of this
Well, then it
this like
changes into that conversation. Yeah, where
yeah. Well, it
core four.
starts it starts there and then it like segues into this and then it circles back
Mm.
by the end. But yeah, this is where like the movie starts it just sort of like cutting between all the things because Kirby arrives and man, what a downgrade for like a pretty fun character because they bring her back. She's FBI now and I when I think of like FBI, like I'll think of like Clarice Starling or someone like that, just like very like competent or just like but like completely devoted to their job and like and taking things serious in a way of and like obviously this is a different universe, but like Herbie walks in here and it's just like I don't buy you as an FBI agent. And
No.
this is not Hayden Panettiere. This is not a smudge on her. It just like this does not feel like an FBI agent. This feels like it was just another thing that's very forced of, a way to bring her back into the story and
Let's make
I
her
guess
FBI.
yeah,
Okay.
and integrate her into what's happening here and where she's been and yada yada yada. But she just doesn't ever feel competent. Like she's not presented in a way where it's just like, okay, she's, a woman about business or just like on top of things. Like she knows what she's doing. It always feels like she's several steps behind. And they're also trying to do this thing with her to make her a red herring, but they
Mhm.
don't like introduce this until like the very last minute, but they like have this whole thing where Bailey's like, "Hey Jack, can you call the Atlanta office? See what you can
Yes.
dig up about this character." And
Officer
it's just
Reed.
yeah, and it's just like we know Kirby. We don't know you. I just like these instances where a character like he has no reason to suspect him at that point or suspect Kirby at that point. So like just to throw that in to just try to like that is not doing the groundwork to successfully sell this would-be twist at the end with Kirby or potential misdirection. But we have this whole thing with this like murder board going on, which actually
Yeah.
earlier in the comments, Amethyst was talking about how the movie sort of betrays its own continuity, not just with this board, but also like the newscast, because they keep saying that it's like this happened in 2022, when actually it was like 2021. So like the movie, it's almost like the Halloween resurrection to H2O, where like even though that movie takes place after H2O, they've already started to mess up the timeline or just like understand the continuity that they had messed up in H2O and like who was killed and how did it happen and all this. And in this movie, they're already presenting it like they don't know. It's just like you were the people who made Scream 5. How do you make Scream 6 a year later and already forget your own continuity?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I love Hayden Panettiere. I don't know. I felt like I even wrote this in my notes as I was watching it. I was like, Kirby's back and she's borderline slurring all her words because I just feel like she was very different in this movie, the way she was talking. I don't know if that's a Hayden Panettiere thing, but I feel like I've seen her
Mhm.
speak in interviews and she doesn't talk with the same cadence. I feel like she was talking like out the side of her mouth a little bit and like, uh,
Yeah.
and I just didn't like it. It did. It felt very like FBI, like holding up like the badge, like it's me, FBI. Like it didn't feel like very real.
Yeah.
Like you're saying. I just didn't buy it. I
Yeah.
would sooner buy that Sydney was in the FBI than Kirby.
Yeah. I could see that. I
I could
mean,
see Sydney
not
as an
not
FBI agent, totally.
not at this point.
No.
But if like that was like if like between 4 and 5, if she came back and she was in the FBI, like even as a consultant, to just be like,
Mm-hmm.
Sydney, you've like gone up against, I guess at that point, 7 different serial killers and like defeated them. Like
No
you're
one's actually ever
actually
done that before.
yeah, you're valuable to us. Like we want
Yeah.
your insight into this. So like I could see a scenario where she would be like an FBI consultant or something like that. But I think it's similar to like how we were discussing Gail in Scream 5 and even like more so in Gail in Scream 6 is that both like Kirby and Gail feel very much like the Jamie Lee Curtis coming back into the role again and just like playing a
Yes.
completely different character than who they are because this like Scream 6 Kirby is not a Scream 4 Kirby. And I get that
Yeah.
like there's been trauma in her life.
Yeah.
She was like, you know, taken within an inch of her life, getting stabbed and she even talks about that several times throughout the movie, but it's like even that feels forced. Like her whole conversation with Tara where it's like I almost died. I was technically dead for several minutes, but
Mm-hmm.
I survived and I got angry. But then I channeled that anger into becoming going all the way to the FBI. And this is my attempt to do Hannibal Lecter. And it was no longer about running from the monsters, it was about fighting the monsters now. And it's just like, oh good grief. And it's like, and Tara's like kind of like intently like holding on to like every word there, and she's just like, yeah, I like that. And it's sort of like is this what is the purpose of this scene other than to like exposit like what Kirby has been up to in several years, but also are they establishing a relationship between Tara and Kirby at this moment? Because like way later on in the movie, as soon as like one person accuses Kirby, like a very unreliable person accuses Kirby of being the killer, immediately Sam and Tara are like, we know you're the killer, Kirby. Like, don't come near us.
Yeah,
Like, it's just
I
like,
know.
is there no work done? Like, do they not like trust their instincts or just feel like this is a friend, this is someone we can trust, or like, how could you betray us? Like anything like that that would seem like a realistic reaction. And this happens so many times throughout this movie, but it just doesn't feel like they're doing the right like the proper groundwork with with these legacy characters bringing them back. It's just more to be like,
Yeah.
oh well, nobody's safe, not even legacy characters, so better watch out Kirby and Gail.
Well, and I just don't buy I never buy that a previous like victim or potential victim would come back and be Ghostface in a new film. Like I know that that's what you were saying. Like it'd be interesting if Gale was Ghostface in this. Like I
In
just don't.
seven, yeah.
Yeah, in seven, I don't see that ever making sense. Like I think that
Hmm.
would be frustrating. Like that'd be really frustrating. Like someone that like survived and then because of what they went through, that they snapped. And it's always like they snapped. Like she just lost her mind one day and just like you know what? Now I'm gonna fucking be this like really strategic killer that gets away with a lot more than I should.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's
yeah.
it's it's a huge stretch. But it's we've also come to a point in the franchise where we've run the gamut of like all these potential motives, like where we've like started to circle around and just repeat ourselves with like the relatives of
Mhm.
the past killers coming back and et cetera and so forth. So, like I said last week, it's for me, it's not really who the killer is, it's why the killer is. And I
Mhm.
feel like, they fail on both fronts with this movie and the family of it all. But yeah, I think that there probably could have been a way to try to make Kirby a red herring in some form or another, or just like, make her like lean into it that she is not the same character. She feels different this time. And make her abrasive, like make her like rub people the wrong way. Because like, her and
Mhm.
Gail clearly butt heads, but that feels forced. It feels like, they're having a mid-off, like who sucks at their job more, because like both Gail and Kirby are presented as being very incompetent at what they do, and like both completely wrong in their estimations of what's going on.
And did
But
they even know each other? Like, did they have scenes together in Scream 4? Gale and Kirby?
I'm trying to they were
Because
in the film club scene because remember Kirby was there holding up
okay.
her phone and Gail was like sitting there, but they didn't interact. But she
Because
knew
they seemed like
her.
they knew each other. Yeah, they seemed like they were
Yeah.
like she's like Kirby. I feel like if she was just a girl in the class,
Yeah.
Gail wouldn't remember her. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
but I guess she
Well,
would. She wrote. I don't know.
yeah, like
She would know who the victims are.
after the
Yeah,
events of of Scream 4,
that's
especially like
true.
if Kirby survived, like she would be familiar. Like there would have been some sort of connection. But even then, like Gail had lived in Woodsboro for 10 years at that point, and I
Yeah,
mean Woodsboro is not like a tiny hamlet or anything like that, but she is the sheriff's wife, and Kirby is obsessed with like the stab movies, and like when Dewey comes out in like this, when Kirby's speeding by when we first meet them, he knows it's Kirby. So I could just see like a scenario where Dewey comes home, like Scream 4 era, and
Mhm.
Gail's like, "How was work today?" And he's like, "Oh, it was like that Kirby girl. She was, speeding. I had to write her a ticket." And Gail would just be like, "Who the fuck is Kirby?" Like just like so disinterested in anything to do with Woodsboro.
What kind of name is Kirby?
Yeah. It's the little pink whatever, the marshmallow. What is Kirby?
I thought it was a car, like that
No,
car
like
movie.
that's
Oh, that's
Herbie.
Herbie. Oh,
Herbie.
that's so funny.
Kirby is
Herbie and
the
Kirby.
video game
Oh, that's
thingamajig.
so
Yeah.
funny.
Hmm.
Um, can we talk about the scene where Quinn dies?
The whole yeah, this ladder sequence,
Yes.
everything. Yes, I hate this scene. Please
This
go ahead.
whole scene, because first I just thought it was weird. I mean, maybe they do this on the news. You know, the news guy that they have, like he's reporting the news. He's talking
Hmm.
like this. He's like, and
Hmm.
the main suspect, Sam Carpenter. Like it just that seemed silly to me. I'm like, would they do that to a student? I mean, not that she's a student. I mean, maybe they would. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
watch the news. But
Um,
just so that's just I don't like him as a reporter. I thought that that was he just sounded a little like campy.
he sounded
Um,
like one of like the South Park thing. He's
yeah,
like,
it did.
oh, no, derp de derp de der.
Up and
And
down, a bar to bar. Yeah, that's
yeah,
how that
I
felt.
don't know. I mean, the legal system within this movie is just far removed from the real legal system. Even the legal system that we know that we've seen in the like throughout the rest of the franchise. So I don't know if they would like openly like at the very least if Sam was a suspect, if and
Hmm.
especially if she was the main suspect, she would be held beyond what we saw. Like they wouldn't just let her walk out of the police station.
Yeah.
Or at least they would tell her that you are a suspect. You are the
Mhm.
suspect in this thing. But they treat it more of like at that point that she was attacked. And again, it's how is she the suspect? Because she ran into a crowded bodega where the killer came in. Several people
Hmm.
saw this happen. I'm sure that there's video footage of this happening too. Um, that it's just like how does a police force fuck that up? Unless that is Bailey like pulling the puppet strings and just
Yep.
being like, erasing witness testimonies and all this shit for all this to happen. So again, it just feels like this like forced conflict of like Sam is a pariah, like, and all this stuff on the internet about her, and we've got to do this thing. But yeah, and that's the scene where the guy is like he messes up the years. He says like this happened last year, but we know that it's now 2023 or whatever, and it's just like, but that was we know that it was 25 years. Anyway, fuck, whatever.
Yeah.
I've gone over my limit on continuity issues, but the thing that bothers me about this scene is just like the way that it is set up because there's so much going on here. You've got um Tara and Chad in the kitchen. That's where we start, and they're like preparing
Hmm.
dinner. And then suddenly it's like that season of Arrested Development where they kept showing that like party for Michael when they were like sending him off or like goodbye because he said he was leaving. And every episode they come back and we find out that there was another member of the family in the room as this like argument was going on. So it's like we're like having this like intimate conversation between Chad and Tara, and then suddenly Mindy's there. And then like here comes like Sam comes in, and then we find out Annika's in the living room
Yeah.
watching TV. And then we see that Quinn is in her bedroom. We don't even know that Quinn is there, but then we find out that Quinn has a hookup who's in the
Hmm.
bathroom taking a bath at like 7 o'clock at night or whatever when they're about to have dinner. And I'm thinking like, okay, so the plan here is to like keep everyone together because it's like safety in numbers sort of situation. But why are they letting Quinn bring this anonymous hookup over? Because that's like a breach of that safety
Yeah, and
right
why
then and
would she,
there
as the killer, want a guy there that she has to now like worry about?
that she
Like,
doesn't know. Yeah.
you
And
know, and her in general, if she has this whole master plan with her dad and her brother, why is she constantly like having strangers over to hook up with anyway? Like, wouldn't her focus be on like the plan? Like, it wouldn't be
mhm,
like, let me just constantly be distracted by having
yeah,
sex with randoms constantly.
constantly.
Well,
I mean, the way
that's
that
her
I
whole
had,
character trait. That's her whole character. Like, there's nothing else that
yeah,
we know about Quinn is that she is just the promiscuous one. That's all we're supposed
I've
to know.
that is my headcanon with her is that she's sort of like dad was like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. And she's just like, "Ugh, I don't really want to do that. Like, at least
I
if I
just
do
want to
that,
fuck.
can I still bring guys over and fuck them like during all this? He's just like, fine, whatever you have to do. Um,
But you might have to
but
kill them if, it interferes with work.
that's the thing. Like, why? Why even like have him there in the first place? But it's just again, there's all the anomalies with the scene. They're preparing dinner. They didn't notice that the knives were gone at that point. Like, weren't
Yeah.
they like chopping up vegetables for this stew that they were making? So many questions. But yeah, beyond that, like the Quinn of it all, and this is where it just like really starts to melt my brain because and again like the fake identity of it all because if they are the Baileys, why like Quinn is now a dead person, like Quinn cannot go back to her. Let's presume that the Baileys win at the end of the day and
Hmm.
they kill Sam and Tara and then they go back to their lives. But Quinn is dead. Quinn is officially dead. Like she's like just in terms of like the legal documents and all that. How does like it does Bailey disappear? Does he go back to his life? What is Quinn gonna do at that point? It just there's so many layers to this that are confusing. And she's in the room, and this is the most
Yes.
baffling part for me. She's in her bedroom and she's on the phone talking to her dad,
Yes.
and she's talking like and they're having a conversation. It's very much like in I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025, where we have the two killers alone together and they're talking about anything but what they're doing, where it's just like, no, these are the killers, they're going to be co-conspiring about murder. But we have the scenario where she's in her bedroom, she's on the phone with the dad, and she's talking about, oh, Sam's just so freaked out right now. Like, I'm concerned and blah, blah, blah. Well, Ethan, I'm presuming that that's Ethan in the ghost
Yeah.
face costume right behind her, is standing there. So you have
Because
all
she says
three
you're
killers.
police. She says you're police on the phone.
You're
So
police. You can take, like, unless it's like the conversation is like, why do I have to fake my death? You're police. You could, like,
yeah.
figure something out or whatever the case may be. You have all three killers here in this proximity, one on the phone, two in the bedroom there, and they're we're trying to like stage this like she's unaware that the killer is behind her. Like like there's even it was cut and probably rightfully so, but in the trailer there's a scene where like Quinn hears a noise and she's like laying in bed on the phone and she like
Jumps
jumps
up.
up in bed. Yeah, you remember
Hmm.
that from the trailer?
Yeah.
Because that would like
Hmm.
that wouldn't have made any sense. Like she knows that like Ethan is there doing whatever. But then beyond all this, like who are they like are they doing this all for Danny to watch from across the alley?
Yeah. Did they know that he was watching? Because then, like, for her to put on the prosthetic, he's watching at this point. So like how did
Hmm.
she quickly like turn her back? And I'm a makeup artist. So like I know what it takes to put on a prosthetic to make it look believable. And sure, it was in the moment. Like they just threw her out. So maybe it was even done really rushed. Like maybe she just but like yeah, when did she like grab out the fake blood? Like was she like, "Wait, I think there's a guy across the window looking in here right now. So we have to do this really slick, like we have to act out you killing me right now so that he can take a photo of it. Like, who are we
Yeah.
acting this out for? It must be for him to like. It just felt very. It was for the audience. It was all just for
Yeah.
the audience. So that's stupid writing. That is bad writing. Because yeah, and then the dad mentions at the end how he swapped out the bodies. When did he swap out the bodies? Was it before the police came to the scene? They were able to swap out the bodies, or did they swap out the bodies at the morgue? Like, I feel like they would have been like, "This isn't your daughter." Like,
Will
I
they
don't
like
know.
pick her up? Like, could you? I just think of like Friday the 13th, part three, when Shelley fakes his death the first time when he comes falling out of the closet, and then Andy goes over and he's like, "Hold on," and like tickles him. Like, you just
Yeah.
imagine them like picking up Quinn, and she'd be like, "Stop."
Yeah, right.
It's
When did they
there's
swap out
so
the
many.
body? When?
Like
Did you have
how
another redhead that was able to pass somehow as your daughter, but because you're a
did
cop, I guess they didn't fingerprint it. They didn't like, even think about it.
did they kill her and like bring like a like this double over? Like it's just the way that it's described is it's just confounding. But the
Wouldn't he be put on a forced leave from work?
well, he did
Um,
say it's just like they took me off the case or
oh,
whatever.
they
But
did.
yeah, just
Okay, yeah,
but he wasn't like they didn't tell him to like just stop working. They just get
yeah.
off like to
Literally, your daughter
go
was
off the case.
slaughtered.
But then he's hanging out with like the people that this is happening to. So like was he taken off the case? Like he's with
Yeah.
them. Like there's just so many questions that I
And
just it
his acting was so obvious there. Like that was terrible. I don't understand that whole set where his
yeah.
crying and like, and yeah, I
Well,
don't know. It was very
I think it's just
baffling.
like that's just how they wanted
I
Dermot
never thought she
to
was
play the
dead.
role. But I thought it was so funny that like this was like the giveaway because they go to the shrine and he turns to them and he's just like, "You've all been through so much." And it's just like, did he forget that like, oh wait, and me too, my daughter was just killed. So that was like his like
Yeah.
slipping up in the moment there. Um, but like that's how like slipshod the clues are with like you know the subtlety of well, this person's definitely not the killer. But the thing ultimately is just like yeah, we're staging it for Danny to see across the street. Like, why does he have to see it? Is he part of the plan so he can like airdrop to them this image
Yeah.
to then get them all like
That
ready?
they
And then
posed
also,
for, that they had to pose for that image and like
and then yeah,
act it out.
and then 5-on-1, they couldn't handle that. They're
Yeah.
like that they got to this scenario where the Chad and Tara run out the apartment, they get locked out, and then at the very least, like you have the three of them in that room, just hold the door. Like like Danny is across, you can see Danny, he's
Hmm.
can call the police, just hold off the
Yeah.
killer.
New York
Don't
City
let him in the room.
apartments
Yeah.
too are very thin. Like if my neighbor right now was screaming at the top of her lungs, I don't care that I'm in New York City. I'm gonna be like,
Mhm.
okay, this has to stop. I would either call my landlord or I'd call somebody or I'd look
Nobody's
out the
complaining.
I'd
Yeah.
look out the peephole. Um, I felt like in that scene they were like, okay, that's true. There's so many characters. We have to get rid of Tara and Chad because Chad's the big strong one. So like let's
Mhm.
have Tara leave with him and then like leave the girl who was stabbed and dragged up like Dewey was. Like it was like dragged up her stomach. And
Hmm.
she's alive for another full, and then even enough to, I hate the line when she's crossing the ladder and she's like, what? Like, don't that what pisses me off so much like, because it's like the killer's behind
Yeah.
her. Like, what do you mean what? She stops what
Yeah.
she's doing. She's like, what?
Do I have
Like
something on
what?
my
What do you mean
face?
what? Yeah,
Like,
like
what?
oh, could it possibly be what we're running from? Like, what do you mean what? Like
And she stops to
stupid.
do it. Yeah, yeah.
And your intestines are hanging out. Um,
Amethyst is saying, I know it's because Annika had to die out of that trio, but her going across the ladder last is infuriating. And this
because
is,
you know exactly what's going to happen, and you
well,
know like you know,
yeah, people
yeah.
always like they praise this movie for having like really suspenseful set pieces. And I'll admit, like the first time I ever saw this movie, it's like, okay, this is in the moment, it's like suspenseful and it's working, but it doesn't have that rewatchability. And when I watch it now, I just see like all the ways that it could have been done so much more
Yeah.
effectively. But the it is baffling. Like I can see them trying to maybe do something as effective as the Scream 2, like Hallie and Sydney crawling out of the cop car and like how they were like cornered, like the car was up against the
Mm-hmm.
wall, the back door was locked, they couldn't break the glass because it is a cop car, so they had to crawl out this thing. Like
And
they
they're
had a
not
very
Helen.
specific, yeah, they're not Sarah Michelle
They're not
Gellar
Helen in her
using
high
her
heels. Yeah.
heels to
Yeah.
break the
See?
glass.
Always
But
wear heels.
but the thing with this is like, yeah, they could have stayed put, but the fact that they go out the thing and Sam is the first one to go across, and it takes Sam the longest. Like they make the most out of her trip to go
She's like, I'm the
across.
main
It's just
character, so I'm gonna like go slow.
yeah, so slow. Then Mindy goes, and why Mindy has to go first rather than Annika, whatever. And Mindy's trip across is like it's not as long as Sam's, but it's like, medium length. And then she
Mhm.
gets across, and now it's Annika's turn, and like over within a second. Like she gets out there, and then suddenly Ghostface is there. And all that's happening is like wobbling this ladder back and forth. Um,
Wow,
like
wow,
had
wow, wow.
how this ladder, this unfoldable, is
Mm.
just like in Danny's apartment that he's like puts it across and like allows them to walk by it or whatever. But the let's just imagine that it was a like a regular ladder that was
Yeah.
like, like had like hinges and could like collapse. That would
Uh-huh.
have created so much more suspense. Show someone's
Yeah.
like cell phone like falling out and like hitting the ground below. Like I know this was a
Shattering.
set.
Hmm.
Yeah, like they were like 3 feet off of the ground. But it looks like a set. I don't feel the height of this scene. I feel like
Well,
they are
they did it.
literally,
Didn't they film it twice? They filmed it with the actors over like just a little thing, like over a little
yeah.
set, but then they filmed it with like stunt doubles, like from a height, I believe.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I didn't feel any tension either.
Yeah, it didn't look like, it just felt like it was just telegraphed like she is going to fall off, she's going to die. And she is already like mortally wounded.
Hmm.
Like why did they have to do that to her in the first, like she could have just
Yeah,
been completely fine,
normal.
let the fall and like hitting her head on the dumpster be the thing
Yeah.
that killed
Let
her
her almost make
ultimately.
it and like and because especially I just hate that like what like that was just the dumbest line to me.
Yeah.
It was too silly. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah.
And then Mindy gets over it like right away.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
and I know it might not be yeah, it might not be their fault, but like the trailers really did ruin it because I remember one of the trailers showed the full deli scene. So like and then like
Mm,
in another trailer we saw the train scene and then in another trailer we saw the ladder scene. So it's like when you show those three huge set pieces and then you go to see the movie, we're like, okay, well, the deli scene's happening first. So there was no suspense at all for me in the whole deli scene. What a cool
yeah.
idea if it wasn't Sam and Tara. If it was characters that maybe had a smaller role that
Yeah.
had a potential of dying, that would have been so much more tension and
Yeah.
cool. And but no, I was like, okay, well, we still have these two huge set pieces to get to, so like they're gonna be just fine. And then same with the next two. I kind of
Yeah.
felt like
I mean, these movies are not made like the suspense aspect is not meant for like us super fans who are like watching the trailers and stuff. Like we're just like, okay, here we are. This is more the general audience that would see that and find it suspenseful. But this is just trailers nowadays. Like they show everything. Trailers showed everything back then too. It's like, in the
they
90s and
did.
before, but it's just like we weren't studying the same way that we do now because like social media and like YouTube and like freeze framing things was not really an option back then. But we come out to this scene the next morning, I guess, and they were like this is like 12 hours later. I don't know how long they're just like been hanging around, and Sam is just like smoking a cigarette. She's just like, girl, girl, I've had enough. I need to take a break. I need to take a load off. And it's just, I wonder like whose decision that was. It's just like, let's have Sam smoke because like, I don't think it's a thing now, but like, maybe like 20 years ago, it's just like, uh, the film industry was like tried really hard to eradicate any characters smoking in movies. It
Mhm.
was just like kind of like wiped clean. And we did have Gail smoking in Scream 2 when they're sitting like right before Randy dies. But I think this
Yeah.
is like the only other time that I can think of like where a character is smoking.
Yeah, you only see a character smoke it if they're going through something, if they've been through something like
Hmm.
traumatic. No one just like I feel like Carrie Bradshaw is the only character I can think of in history that just smokes because she's just a normal woman who smokes, and not because it's like, oh, she just survived a murder, so I'm gonna break out
Yeah.
a cigarette. It's like,
I feel
okay.
like, but with Carrie Bradshaw, I think she does it like performatively. It's like to
Well,
look
everything she does is
sexy.
performative.
Yeah.
But no, she's in her apartment barefoot, just like dancing around, smoking
For the
cigarettes.
audience, for the audience. It's not for
Yeah. She's like,
her.
wee, doing somersaults around her apartment for no reason.
Yeah. Amethyst, where was Sam's cigarette at the end after she kills Bailey so she could just scoff and say in-laws? I guess that's the Ready or Not reference. That would have been the,
Oh,
the point
yes.
of like to take out a cigarette like, oh, I just like her stabbing Bailey in the eye and just being like, what a rush, and just having her like Lois Griffin moment where she like takes the cigarette and like puts it out on her rose.
Ah, yeah. Ah. That was amazing.
Yeah, and then who should walk up out of nowhere is Ethan Landry,
Hmm.
and they're just like immediately, it's you. You're the suspect.
You're a
It's
killer.
like, but like without any proof or anything, because he's like, well, I had econ. And he's like, I was in a room with like 100 other people. You can verify it. And then like later on, he's like, my alibi checked out. Why am I still here? And they're like, so we can keep an eye on you. So I'm still like confused. Like, how did his alibi check out exactly? Like, did
They
they
texted
actually?
someone and they were like, "Hey,
Yeah,
was Ethan there
like
studying it?
I
Did you
think
see
so.
him?" They're like,
Yeah,
"Who? Can you show me a picture of him?"
yeah, maybe he was there. I don't know. Like, it's just
Isn't his
it's
last
it's
name
so
Kirsch?
convenient.
I know him. He went to my elementary school.
Yeah. Yeah, it's silly, but yeah, then this is where the Gail comes up, like the truce. I always feel like these movies use that, like especially with Gail, she's always just like off the record. Like it's
Hmm.
sort of like this, like okay, it's like the safety word where they're like, Gail, I swear, like get the fuck out of here, like blah blah blah. She's like, no, 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 like I promise. And then they're like, no, and she's like, off the record. And it's just like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah. Like that's all
Oh,
you
in
had to
that
say. It was off
case,
the record. Yeah. We trust you. We trust you implicitly. Like you just wrote this book about how I'm a potential serial killer. But because you said off the record, like that,
yeah.
it's
Well, that's good
like,
enough for me. Well,
yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
no, I feel like every character in this movie sounds exactly the same. They're all written the same. They all have the same snarky, like sarcastic, like almost Joss Whedon type of humor.
Hmm.
Like I just it's too much. Like no one has a difference in everyone is like something snarky at each other. They all have like a witty comeback to say to each other, and
Yeah.
it's too
Or like
much.
Gail when she's just like, Kirby,
Like do your
you're a
job.
zygote.
Yeah.
You're a zygote. She's like, I'm 30.
Yeah, and then like, oh, I was doing my job. You'll don't worry, you'll get there. Like that was so corny to me. I hate that. Like, oh,
Hmm.
it just
Yeah.
yeah.
And the okay, so I wish that the shrine had like the way that they set it up, because I feel like what I would have wanted to see in like classic Scream of just sort of like Gail investigating, show us Gail finding it. Show us Gail like coming to the place and it's just like everything is dark and whatever. And I want to see that. I want to see Gail's storyline or her journey of finding it. But like, could you imagine if that's what happened? Like, let's pretend that they don't go to the shrine at this midpoint in the movie, but Gail goes there, discovers it, but like say everything's covered with sheets, it's dark, and then the killer comes out and she's like hiding, and then perchance she's discovered, like she sees the killer take off the mask and she knows who it is, but then she bumps into something or her phone goes off, alerting the killer that she's there, and there's a chase scene and the killer gets her, or we think that she's
Mhm.
dead or whatever, and then the killer uses her as bait to bring Sam and Tara and everyone to this location later on, and then we're in the climax and they enter this arena and that's the first time like the lights come on and like the curtain comes up and we
Mm.
see everything for the first time. Like that would have been so much better of a reveal than like how they do it here. We're like, what is this place? And Gail being like, it's a shrine.
Yeah. No, there's that's you put more thought into that idea you just gave than they do. Because again, everything to me that they write feels like this could be a theme park ride. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's more about the like, haha, remember this from the past film? Like we want to respect the old films and like keep reminding you of it every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Is there anything nice that we can say about the movie at this point? Like,
I will say I think Sam looks really beautiful in this one. I liked her hair better in this one.
mhm,
The long black hair middle part. I think she's just as annoying as the last movie. I've never been a Sam fan. I respect you if you like her, but I just always kind of found her too like girl bossy at the end. Like even this movie,
mhm.
like it just didn't
What
feel good that he's on his knees and the way that they kill him and then it's like haha yeah I don't know Sydney never came across like that to me whereas like
what
Sam comes across that way to me.
Yeah, it's the Mary Sue of it all, like that what they said in five when they were just like the main character is a Mary Sue and like what's a Mary Sue? But it's just like that. It's just like the a character who has like no flaws or like can do everything. And like Sam is obviously like a character who is flawed, but it's just like the killers in this, she is a character who fails upwards or just like in spite of
Yeah,
her shortcomings, she still succeeds.
yeah.
And that's frustrating. But I agree. I think that like aesthetically, I like the look of Sam at the very least. Like I think even like
Hmm.
Tara, just like
She looks pretty.
their wardrobe. It's not even like a matter of like prettier aesthetics. Like everyone in this movie is an attractive person.
Yeah, of course.
It's just like the costumes. Like I like that they're very intentional with like sort of like the more of like the dull pinks for Tara and like Sam sort of
Hmm.
got like the grays and like the dark blues and things. And yeah, I think that like I liked Sam's look in five, but yeah, I agree that this is an improvement over that. I Chad's look in this movie is boring because he's just like in a sweater the whole time, like the same
Chad's
like gray sweater.
Chad, I would have liked Chad to like be like a womanizer in this one. I don't know, to be a Chad. I wish he was
Yeah.
actually a Chad in this movie. Like in the beginning, like in I don't know. I would have liked
Or
that.
more like a Ryan Philippe and I know you
Yeah,
love Summer of
he's
Love.
lovable with his friends. Like his friends obviously love him, but he's kind
Mhm.
of like because he kind of comes that way off like across that way with Ethan. Like he's kind of a douche, but like I don't know. Have him
Mhm.
be instead of like randomly falling in love with Tara out of nowhere. He should be like womanizing. I don't know, have like three girls on his arm at that party. I mean, I'd be on his arm, that's for sure.
Yeah, may as well. But yeah, no, I only ask if there's anything nice because I can just imagine like if there's anyone who's still listening, who's not
I
like
know who's
seething with resentment of just like fuck these two and all that. But
well,
it's
it's
only
funny
gonna get
because
worse from
I've
here.
watched reactions to this movie, and it's funny that
Mhm.
like people will they're obviously not diehard Scream fans. They're just like people that are reacting to like thrillers and horror movies or whatever. And so then like they'll be like, "Oh my God, this was the first Scream that I actually guessed it right. I think it was this movie and the last one. Like, I guessed the killer is right." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's because like they weren't as well written as the first three." Um, and
Yeah.
like they don't understand that the writing is just like not as good, and it's way obvious. It's obvious like they're not good at writing red herrings. Like these two guys from
Well, or killers or
yeah,
heroes
or
or anything.
dialogue or witty
Yeah.
banter. Yeah.
Davy B. Jones says, I like most of the set pieces in this film as well, even though most of the kills are lackluster. Adrian Phillips says, letterboxed check, Scream 6, 2.5 out of 5 for me. This movie just exists. So there's that.
Um, and even the ending I felt like went too long. I feel like the whole end takes a really long time. I like
Mhm,
everything that happens in the theater, but then I feel like with this like Bailey, that whole part takes a
mhm.
long time, and then even after that, like then Ethan pops back up, and um then they have to go outside and they talk for a while, and it just felt very slow.
Well, they're just sort of like hitting on the same idea over and over again. Like it's just like dialogue could have been excised. But again, it's just because like the plan or what's going on is very convoluted. So I feel like they're having to do so much work to over explain what it is,
Hmm.
like to simplify something that is like extremely complicated when it's like, well, why don't you just think of something more simple to begin with? But yeah, I just like just trying to keep up with everything in terms of where we are because this is the point where Tara is like Tara like has these moments where she's just like, "Ugh, I can't deal with this right now," and just sort of like runs off and like creates more friction because we have to this is the spine of the movie, this relationship between the two of them, and it's like
Hmm.
she just wants a normal life. She just wants to be fine. And this is all because of Sam. And Sam's has like this vision of Billy. And she's like touching the glass. And Tara's like, what are you doing? So it's like
She's
there's
like,
almost
just
like,
looking at like a 45-year-old version of my dad that
yeah,
never existed.
yeah, but it's like this, there's almost this like judgment to it, which also like comes back later, which is just like very much contradictory. But this, as I already mentioned, like it leads to this whole thing where Bailey's like, yeah, we're gonna do this thing in the park and whatever. So let's jump over all that because we already talked about how it didn't make sense. But now we're at Gail's condo,
Hmm.
and I guess another major set piece within the movie that a lot of people really praise because they're just like, oh, they finally brought back a chase scene. I'm just curious
No.
what your thoughts are, and even people in the chat right now. Do you like this? Does this work for you as a chase scene?
I say no. Down to her wardrobe. I don't like that she's in like literal athletic gear for when she needs to be athletic. I like a
Hmm.
character to be caught off guard by their wardrobe.
Yeah.
Um, that's my preference. So like her sitting at home with her sneakers on, like that's so gross. Like you just came from a run outside or something, or you from wherever outside, you're at home in your sneakers almost ready for the killer to attack. And so I didn't like that. And then her man gets taken out so easily, like just so quickly, by Quinn and thrown through like he's nothing. And then it was just silly how she like they had to get her to come out of the closet. Even though in Scream 2, Gail waits when she does her whole chase scene and she gets herself locked in that room. She waits there and she'll wait there. She waited there for a while until she ended up leaving that room. She didn't just come out
Hmm.
immediately. Like you have a phone in your hand, you can call the police. Like you can. It was like they just needed her to come out of the closet.
Come out of the
And
closet, Gail. You
yeah,
should be
like come
dating women
on.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They needed her to be
The
lesbian. So,
her
um,
bedroom, not the closet. It was just to confirm. But
I
Amethyst
thought it
is
was a
saying,
cause it. No, it wasn't
I
a
think it's her
causa.
bedroom. She wouldn't
Oh, I
because
thought it
there's
was
the,
like
the
I thought it was a
phone in
walk-in
there.
closet. Okay, never mind. You're right.
Oh, well, that's a big walk-in closet. Amethyst Frost is saying, I liked Ghostface's conversation with Gail. Didn't like Brooks being a NPC. Didn't like Gail coming out of the safe room when she knew she didn't shoot Ghostface. The chase was okay.
No.
Um, the
But how did they know that she'd never gotten a phone call? How did they know that?
Well, because maybe it was in the books. Like she's,
Oh, she
you know,
wrote,
it
I've
always.
never gotten a phone call myself.
Yeah, I always wondered. I when she is like, because she's sitting on the couch and the boyfriend picks up the phone, and she's like, "It's the killer," and she's like, her legs are like she's like a child, like her legs are like
Yeah,
out stretched, and
fold
she's
it
sort of
up.
like she like uses them to like anchor herself down to like thrust herself out of the couch. It just feels like very childlike.
Hmm.
Um, so right away, it's just like, who is that? Like, is that how Gail stands? Come on. But the the whole thing of it, like that was something that was shown in the trailer of just sort of like Brooks getting grabbed and like pulled back. And I think even was even shown like thrown through the bookshelf and all that. But all of that worked well for me. Like I just liked like sort of like the use of like things going on in the background. But it's when the chase starts, when he like walks out of there, or Quinn like steps out from the bookshelf, and then it's just sort of it feels very on rails at that point because it's like we've choreographed a chase scene. Gail, you're gonna run
Yes.
here and you're going to do this, and you know, then you're gonna run out onto the terrace and you're gonna come all the way onto the other side, back inside, and then go into the room. So you've just done this like big loop.
Loop. Hmm.
And I feel like most horror movies nowadays, like they just don't understand chase scenes. They don't know how to properly capture what it is or just like what it is within chase scenes that add the tension like we were talking about with Helen of just sort of like
Obstacles.
yeah that
Hmm.
like getting to the door it's locked the sister has to get the key to unlock it but she forgets
Hmm.
that it's locked has to go back and she's like so blasé about it just like little things like that that are put like scattered throughout whatever chase it is. And now it's just sort of like I guess like the memo is like, well, they just have to run. They can just
Hmm.
and I blame Texas Chainsaw 2003 for this because it's like that whole movie is literally Jessica Biel running from venue to venue, where it's just like
Hmm.
that's not interesting. Like you need to like her falling down and getting up, like that's not enough. When Gail goes out onto that terrace she should have like fallen like had a struggle and almost like fallen over the
Yeah.
edge
Hmm.
or something because it's just like you're in an apart if you're setting this in an apartment or like high up in a penthouse then use
Hmm.
that to your advantage
Yeah. Use
but
the height for advantage. For sure.
exactly but then we
There
go in
there could have been people across like 'cause in all these buildings like I used to live in a high rise and you can see into everyone's apartment like right across the way. So it would have been even cool if like there was a shot of like a big building across like the street and there's like
Mhm.
people that can see what's going on and she's like screaming like help me. I don't know, that would have been cool. Um
Yeah, just like emphasize that we are in New York City, that there's
mhm.
people who could help and aren't helping.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, just to then go into the room and like again, like lock herself in and then just choose to go out. Like there is no reason for her to step out other than like, did the killer provoke her? And she's like felt that she was like, I'm really gonna kill you now. But to
That's
be
dumb.
that,
She's not dumb.
yeah, she's not. And this movie paints her to be dumb, and she gets really brutalized, like stabbed with like shards of glass, stabbed with knives, like it's just like kind of everywhere to the point where she's then laying on the ground with a knife like coming down to her face. And this is
Hmm.
the coup d'etat. And they did this in five. Sam did this in five, where it's just like you've arrived. At least with five, because it was like when she came to the hospital and the elevator doors open, like the ding announced her before she was just like, maybe I'm just stalling for time.
Fuckhead.
And then like giving fuckhead exactly, and then giving Amber enough time to like dodge the thing, but coming to the apartment, picking up the gun, holding the gun, and being like, "Hey, I'm gonna shoot you now." Like
Yeah.
don't alert that. Just shoot the fucking kid, because that's what you would do. That's what
Or
any of
like
us would
or
do.
run and
Like,
just push him off really quick, like kick him
yeah,
across the room.
yeah.
Totally.
Instead of like
No,
giving the killer fair warning so they can like dodge every bullet and hightail it out of there.
and it's the way that I know a lot of it might be just the delivery, but I feel like these writers love to like these characters use a lot of word like fuckhead and like motherfucker and fucker. Like I know that the first three movies had that too. Like that's totally fine, but like it just feels like they're overusing it. It just feels like in especially in this movie and the last movie, it's like they're thinking of so many different like okay, fuck, I can't think of any other words, but like they have a few different like
Fuck
things like that.
rag.
Yeah, like they have like different things that like, these writers came up with and you can tell they think are so funny and it's just like I don't know, it's almost too
Fuck
much. Like
nugget.
yeah, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like I can't even think about it, just like stalling for
I
time,
do
fuckhead. And
I
then
do
listen,
like that.
fucker, we have to get these fuckers. Everything's a fucker,
Yeah.
fucker, fucker. I'm like, stop saying that. Like, I don't
Chad
know.
says at one point, I think he calls them like
Gail
douche
says it
nozzle.
500 times. Oh, douche
Chad
nozzle. Yeah.
says douche nozzles, I guess when he's referring to Jason and Greg. But
Hmm.
I've used that term way before this movie ever existed, so I know that it's like it's something that has been used. They didn't invent that for this, but
Let's get
yeah,
these fuckers. It's always
let's
like
get these
fucker. Like, stop saying
yeah.
fucker. You sound
I
like a
just want to
trucker.
I just want to get the fuckery of it all.
Yeah.
And I also I hate how Gail is when the phone rings when she's in her bedroom, like the landline, and she picks it up and she's like, "You shot me," and she's like, sure I did." And then she's like, "No, I'm hit. I'm in the stairwell now. I'm leaving." "Sure you are." And it was just like, okay, like that's all she's
Sure
saying is like,
you are.
"Sure." And then when she's out and it's just like, "Oh, sorry about your boyfriend. All those muscles couldn't save him." They sure couldn't.
I know, like, why are you joking along with the killer? Like, that's another thing. Like, Wes Craven, like, you cared about all the characters that died. Like, this one is like she's
Hmm.
almost joking along with the killer about her man not being strong enough. Like,
Yeah.
come on, I
But
don't know,
she's
like,
just like,
care.
yeah, she's like, like what value do you bring? She's like the brains and the sex appeal, and it's
I
like,
know, and again,
okay.
that's for the audience. That's for the audience to laugh. Like, I don't like that. Don't write this movie for
No.
the audience. Like,
Well,
um,
write it for the audience, but don't write it to the
don't
audience.
wink at us every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, whatever. Like, you're the
Yeah.
wink. This whole movie was a wink emoji.
Yeah, it really was. And this sort of like I guess Gail coming within an inch of her life is like the turning point for Sam to just be like, this is all happening because of like just having her like whiny little moment of just being like, this is because of me and et cetera and so forth. And I don't like I can't even remember how they like came up with this plan that they're gonna like lure the killer into a trap or whatever it is when Danny shows up and
Make a trap. Yeah.
yeah, they're all like, yeah, core four, et cetera, and so forth. But it's like at this point, and you've already conjectured that the killer, Mindy is already convinced that Ethan is the killer, and
Hmm.
everyone else is kind of like sketchy about him, but like you're announcing the plan between all of you, like, yeah, we're gonna lure the killer into a trap. And that is something that I don't I mean, for several reasons, I don't like about like the new era of Scream because they did that a lot in five, where it felt like Sam was like had too much agency in sort of like what was happening. Like she was deciding, okay, this is what we're going to do, and
Hmm.
let's do it. And that would be all well and good if it was like if she was actually doing it strategically or thinking strategically. I know in this case, I think it was Tara that came up with the idea, but in the original movies, like one to three, it was always presented as a scenario where Sydney was backed into a corner. Like Ghostface would call and just be like, "Here's your ultimatum." You like in Scream 3, it's just like you have to come save their lives. Like she was the one being lured, and that made it feel much more suspenseful. Like it actually like added that ticking clock to it. It felt like the killer is in control. You have to go along. You have no choice. That actually raised the stakes. And here it's just sort of like well, let's just, throw whatever we can at the wall and see what sticks. And in
Yeah.
doing so, like you're announcing that again in front of all the people who are potential suspects. So it's just like you're not even being clever about it. You're not being smart. You're essentially creating a situation where these people are going to get the upper hand because of how sloppy you're being. And that's exactly what happens.
No, you're absolutely right. Um,
I never get tired of hearing that, by the
no, you're absolutely right. And
way.
like, and apparently there's just some entrance that's like that people can just get in and out of this building so easily, even though every door was supposed to be locked and checked and everything like that. But
Yeah.
like everyone's like coming in and out, like,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
can we talk about the subway first, or
of course,
just to go in, of course.
but of course.
Yeah, because you mentioned like earlier that Mindy had to die in order for that scene to work, right?
Yeah, totally. And then I hate that shit they have to immediately like, oh, I was wrong again. Like, it has to be funny with it. Like, stop. Like, just like, why can't we have any emotional impacting like anything? Well,
Hmm.
I guess they killed Dewey, so I guess that was like their emotional
But it's just
impact. But like, come
when
on,
you
make us
think
care
about
about
that,
Mindy. I don't care about
yeah,
Mindy at all. Like, I just think she's
n-
just a goofball. She's just gonna make a joke about it. Like,
yeah, neither do I. But I feel like speaking of like killing Dewey, it's interesting that they will kill the character like someone else's legacy, but like they're
hmm
very protective of their own.
of their core four.
Yeah, but yeah, with Mindy, it's very confusing because it's like this trajectory of being super suspicious of Ethan. And obviously we know that Ethan is the killer on rewatch. But like him rescuing her at the end doesn't make any sense. Like it just like why is he doing that? It would have made more sense like if that's the route that they were going where Mindy is stabbed and whether she survives or not, that he wouldn't see her. He would maybe be looking and didn't see her and get off the train
Mm,
and then be like, where did Mindy go? Or whatever, just like performatively in case anyone was watching. But it doesn't
mm,
make any sense for like it's counterintuitive for Quinn to be on the train to stab Mindy for Ethan to then go and like rescue her because like nobody is going to blink an eye if Ethan got off the train or wasn't, with her, whatever the case may be.
Unless he was like
So,
watching and then he saw that she wasn't dead and he was afraid that she would have been like if she survived, if she'd be like, "Hey, and I saw Ethan, he just completely walked off the train and left me there," kind
but
of
did
thing.
Ethan see you sort of situation? So,
If they made
I
eye
mean,
contact,
yeah,
I
like
don't know.
that's the whole
Yeah.
thing. And but then like nobody knew that they were going to get separated. But for her to like for him to do that, and then she says like, "Oh, I was wrong again." And then there's like a piece of the movie missing because somehow Ethan leaves and goes to the shrine
hmm
from like this active crime scene situation
Yeah, he
on
doesn't
the
have to fill out
subway.
paperwork with the police or anything like that.
No, he just leaves. So I
Give a
guess maybe
statement.
that's how Mindy pieces it together later that Ethan is the killer. Like it's just, but there's all these pieces of the puzzle are missing conveniently. So it's always been so frustrating that happens because it's like when Ethan is revealed, it's not more of like the surprise isn't like, oh, it's you. It's more of just like, when did you get here? And
Mm.
I think
hmm
that absolutely, I think they should have killed Mindy. And it's not because I don't like Mindy as a character. I just think like let's use a kill to your advantage. It's like, if you're trying to recreate the Randy of it all, and what should have happened is that when they realized that they like Mindy was on the car behind them, they should have been like, no, we should all stick together. Let's get off at the next stop and then wait for that car so we can rejoin with Mindy and Ethan. So when that happened, let's just say Mindy is killed and then Ethan disappears. But we can think that it's not Ethan because we can just see Ethan like get off at a stop or whatever. But the train doors open, they get on and they see bloody dead Mindy there, very much in like the same way that the van door opens in Scream 2, and Gail screams at seeing uh Randy
Randy,
kill.
yeah.
Like that's how you do it. And that would have obviously like really heightened the stakes and made things emotional going into that finale. Like I just imagine in Scream 2 of like everyone converging on the theater at the end because it just felt like all hope was lost. They were just like, this is the last vestige of like any sort of safety is like someone's at the theater that can help me or whatever. Like, however the characters get there, only to find that it's like more doom and gloom. Whereas like here in Scream 6, it's just like, oh well, they're on their way. They're in the car behind. Let's just get here and like I guess we're gonna perform this plan where no, we don't even know what we're doing. Kirby's not letting anyone else have a weapon. She's got the only one. this she
Mm-hmm.
says that this is she's scoped out this whole fucking building and this is the only way in or out when clearly there's a we even see because Sam looks up and sees the exit door at the top. So I don't know how Kirby was able to
How
miss
could we
that.
miss that? And like, and
Yeah.
obviously everyone's finding it easily because one ghost face is, I'm sure, yeah, they're at the theater, but then like the other ghost face joins, so like they found the way in, and then the dad found the way in,
Yeah.
and
I
you
think the
know,
dad came in through like the key card entrance because that's like directionally where he comes from when he shows up.
is that where the gate is? That gate
Yeah.
door? But that
Yeah.
gate door was locked.
Yeah, unless you had the key card, which because he
Oh,
did as a cop, I think he's because he's like Gail gave us the cards to the yada yada. That's the thing. It's just like all this like detail is just sort of like thrown out there in the dialogue, but it's it's still it leaves so much to be desired. And then to like tell Danny to go away before they get into the theater, which I mean, again, like that last 2 seconds, because like the killers are revealed not long after. If Danny was actually in the theater with them, that would have made him more of a potential suspect to be the killer. Like, I would have been thinking, where's
yeah.
Danny? Has anyone checked on
Hmm.
Danny in a few minutes? Um, so yeah, I just think I love that setting. I think that it's a really
Yeah, it
cool,
was very
creepy
cool.
thing. I just think that like the the circumstances around everything just sort of ruined what that could have been.
I hate that like when they're unmasking themselves and Mindy, it's like what? Like, what do you mean? Like, are you asking that because out of process of elimination, you're just accusing your friend Mindy of like why wouldn't you think it's just someone else completely randomly? Like, why would you think it's Mindy? Like of all people. I don't know. I thought that was so stupid and they thought they were so clever. You could tell they thought they were really, really clever with this reveal and like the fact that she wasn't really dead. But everyone knew that. Like
Yeah.
everyone
I
knew.
mean,
Like maybe it was the order that they did the reveal. Maybe if she revealed herself
that's what
before
it
Ethan,
is.
if she had done that first, that'd be a little bit more of a whoa, okay. And then Ethan,
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
agree because it's sort of like we Bailey even says because it's just like the whole Kirby like get away from the girls, Kirby, and I love that like even Sam and Tara are still being accusatory towards Kirby after like
yeah,
two ghost faces have converged upon them and she fires bullets at them to get them away and it's just and they're like Kirby, we know it's you. I'm like, really? She just saved your life potentially. Like, is this how dumb you
yeah.
you are?
I
Like that's the thing.
know.
It's just like Tara and Sam are written to be so dumb. And that
Yep.
moment, like to just be like, well, if it's you two, then that just leaves Mindy. And it's just like, or how about like the other, how many people live in New York City? Like 8 million?
Oh, yeah. I think in New
Yeah.
York City, in Manhattan alone.
Yeah. Like, how about the 800 million other people that it could be in the city? Like, why go to Mindy at first? Like, I'd love to see Mindy's reaction to like finding out that Sam, for a flicker of a moment, thought that she could be the killer, and just be like, you know what? I don't
Right?
think that I'm your friend anymore. I don't want to be friends with
I
you.
heard you
But
accuse me earlier.
yeah, but
Uh,
the only way that
wild.
could work because like Bailey is just like accusing Kirby of killing his daughter, and once you see like okay, Bailey's the killer because he shot Kirby, then it's just like, oh wait, so you killed your own daughter? Obviously you didn't. One of these two ghost faces is your daughter, and we're gonna find out that the mask came off, which you're right. That's why Quinn as the killer should have been the first reveal. And then
Yes.
do the other ones. And like when Ethan so he's like, my name's not even Ethan Landry. It's just like, well, what is it? Like who are you? Like it's
And he's trying his best to be Stu in that moment and be like as energetic and like
yeah.
kooky and like, haha, we're just a family of criminals. Just we all got together one
Yeah.
day and decided to kill.
And similar to like my issue with Amber in Scream 5 is that like
Yes.
these are not who these characters were throughout the movie. I think
Yeah.
that like Quinn, she did a really good job of just sort of like playing
Hmm.
like I can see that. Like I can see the flip of the switch. Like it felt like, yes, this is the same character. With Ethan and Bailey, it was just like, no, that's not the same person.
No.
You have not
They were having too
been,
much fun on set.
yeah.
Pull it back and stop having
Um,
so much fun.
yeah, no, it's distracting.
Yeah,
for sure.
I feel like they let him like run wild because like I've seen Dermot, and I know you have a soft spot because he's such a great
Oh,
guy in
I love
person.
him.
Love
Yeah.
him, but like it almost looked like he was just having so much fun and like really went for it, and like they were like, yeah, that was great, that was
Yeah.
great.
No, I think it was definitely a case where radio silence were like, can you do it bigger? Like, you know what? Like, because I think of like Laurie Metcalf in Scream 2, like after her reveal, but there's like this desperation, you know, be beneath her performance that you can feel. And
Hmm.
with Dermot, it's just almost like they're like, can you play it like a Bond villain? You know, and you're just sort of
Yeah,
like
he wasn't
pontificating
traumatized.
your plan for world domination. No, these people don't feel traumatized by
Yeah,
anything. They're just sort of
like
like they
you
have this
killed my
bloodlust.
son. Like it wasn't like there was nothing like that. Like
No,
you know,
we didn't get that. And I don't and I it's not the actors. It's just the way that the writing and the way that they were directed to behave that way. But it's just like it all kind of like that's the thing. Like people who even love this movie and swear by it always have the same criticism is that the reveal and the ending is
the weakest
very
link.
flawed. And I even argue to that because I think that I think that the whole movie is weak because like everything that happens within it is not a cause and effect of like where it goes. It's the finale being weak is not because it's a weak finale. It's the result of just the groundwork not being laid properly at any point throughout the movie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I do think the finale is weak. I feel like it has pacing issues, acting issues.
Hmm.
Um Everyone survives. It just doesn't make any sense. Like and like you said
Yeah.
because you said you agree that Mindy should have died, and you're like it's not because I don't like Mindy. Exactly. It should be about what if you like them or not. It should be about if it tells the story better. Like same thing with like Helen Shivers. Everyone thinks that like a lot of people say that she should have survived that chase scene because they love Helen. But I'm like, no, the fact that she dies in that chase scene is what makes the whole thing impactful. If she
Hmm.
survived, it'd kind of be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun while it lasted. Like it almost like some people need to die for the dramatic impact and not like a forced one like Dewey kind of felt like, but like Mindy could have very well have died. Chad should have died.
Yeah.
Um
I mean, okay, it's and this is an issue because this was right before my 4K crapped out. But the Chad getting stabbed, this was another case of like characters being stupid for no reason because they're like running around because they're coming through that back hallway and they're coming back into the concessions area. And they've like completely tag team. It's like three against one at this point. They've got the like one on each side pinning them down while the other like kicks them. Like Tara kicks the Ghostface head while they're on the ground. And it's just like, okay, you've got him. And he like
mhm.
grabs this gumball machine and he's just like, go, run, get out of here. And it's like, A, where are they gonna run to? Like they're going into the theater. Like the place is locked.
Mhm.
There's nowhere for them to go, but he is like telling them to go away when they've clearly stabilized the situation. They've got
Yeah.
Quinn, who this is, on the floor, and they did like Chad tells them to turn their back, and Sam's running away. This is Sam, who's already been presented as someone who doesn't want to run anymore. That was her whole arc in five, and now here she is just like running away, and that allow you know if they were all there, then someone would have seen Ethan, the other Ghostface, come in behind him and stab him in the back, only for that to like then allow him to be this human pincushion to like continuously get stabbed
Yeah.
and stabbed. So like I see a moment like that, it's just like, of course he survived because the circumstances that were created in which he was stabbed in the first place were just as ridiculous as him surviving. So it just felt like, oh, this needs to happen, so we're gonna have characters do something completely out of character and stupid for that to happen. And it's the there's something else I wanted to mention. Oh, the you're talking about the pacing issues, the
Mhm.
length of time it takes for Sam and Tara to put it together. That like the Baileys are essentially like laying it all out for them. It's just like
Yeah.
you killed our brother last year and in Woodsboro and Sam's just like, "What are you talking about? I didn't do anything." And it's like literally goes on for a minute and then it's just like you're Richie Kirsch's family. And it's just like, I hear Rebecca Gayheart like ding 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 like just like
Yes.
did it have to take you that long like again just making characters who are should be smarter than they are incredibly stupid.
Yeah, and it's like it's not like the family was already killers while she was dating Richie. So like did she never meet them? Like she never saw any photos of them. She never like heard I don't know.
I mean I can suspend disbelief for that because it's just like
If you're they were dating for a while though. I don't
well they were
know.
dating for like 6 months and like never met someone's family but I've done that too and never met my significant other's family. So like that
Hmm.
doesn't seem out of the ordinary to me, especially for like someone like Sam, who's like in and of herself is like not, like she has no connection to her family at this point. So maybe like someone like Richie, like she wouldn't be like, I want to meet your family sort of thing, because she knows that she's not going to have Richie meet hers.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
um, actually, the mother comes up in this again in conversation. This is like earlier when Gail asked like where's your mother in all of this, and I feel like
Huh.
that's the I mean they already kind of like screwed up with that in five, but here especially it feels like why is the mother just like she's just become this non-entity, like they just don't even care at this point.
Yeah.
And when I think about it, uh, Christina Carpenter is actually the most interesting character to me out of anyone in this because she is the one who has the direct relationship with Billy. She's the one who knew him when he was
Yeah.
alive. I feel like if anything, like I would want to see Sam want to reach out to her, just be like, "Tell me about my father," or something, or just like that. Just makes her a mysterious character, just because of the proximity, and they've completely discarded her.
Yeah, like I want to be like, when did you guys like hook up? Like what if like
It's in the diaries.
what if Billy like hooked up with the mom before he came to the party that night, not knowing that Sydney was gonna give it up too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
Yeah.
Uh
Adrian Phillips says, I can suspend disbelief for this movie. Sadly, it's because I don't care.
mm.
Amethyst, Christina would have been the killer in Scream 7 when Sam and Tara were supposed to be in it 100%. I mean, I feel
Well,
like Christina would have been a really good red herring. I don't know if she would have been a good killer because I don't know like how that makes sense, but I can see her being like a
she
cotton
confuses me
weary.
so much because she's like apparently this huge drunk. And like and that's how Amber says that like they found out information about them is because, well, your mom's a drunk. She's like blah 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 all over town. Like,
Yeah.
but she's also important enough to have this huge profile job that flies her to like Europe and
Yeah.
like, on a business conference for London and stuff. I mean, that's a very high end job for someone that's like a huge drunk at a
Yeah.
bar talking about her daughter's life. Um,
I'm just getting like flashes of Allison Parker in Melrose Place, like this executive with her like hidden alcoholism and just like being sent off to like run operations at the Hong Kong branch. It's just like,
that's
no,
funny. I've
she's
never
gonna
seen
fuck
it.
things up. Oh, you've never, oh, you need to.
No, no, I've
It's
never.
a 90s staple. But
Hmm.
yeah, and then the movie, the climaxes. Um, but I think the biggest the biggest lingering question and confusion that I have is how the whole time it's just like the Baileys are like, we want you to put on the mask. It's time to like embrace your birthright. This is who you are. You're a killer. The killer's in your blood. Even though their plan is to like frame some anonymous Reddit user or whatever, but they want to get the mask onto her for some reason. They want her to embrace the killer within her. And Sam is like fighting this the whole movie. She's like, this is not who I am. I'm not this killer, etc. and so forth. And then after this ridiculous face off where Bailey, instead of shooting Sam, runs at her with a gun and they go flying over the edge. She goes through this whole rigmarole of
Hmm.
putting on the costume, getting the phone out. And the thing is, like, he is knocked out. He is unconscious at this point.
Hmm.
And mind you, there's an FBI agent somewhere in the fucking seats here
Yeah.
who has been stabbed. But let's prioritize doing all this rather than like tying him up and
Doing a
calling the
bit.
police and like
Hmm.
like FBI's here, like Kirby can call her backup or whatever. But yeah, let's do this whole bit and then stab him 46 times or however many it is, only to like for him to like beg for mercy. And then for her to say, I'm not a killer. I'm not who my father is. And then Tara, of all people, who this entire time has been the one that's just like apparently hates this aspect of her life that Sam is related to
Mm-hmm.
this, and by proxy, Tara is related to this, and she's even being judgmental of like Sam, why are you touching the glass? Why are you like fetishizing the knife and all that? For Tara to like for Sam to look at Tara and Tara to just sort of shrug her shoulders and be like, yeah, what like go ahead for and then Sam be like, but you did fuck with our family, so you gotta die. And it's just like it's this doesn't
So
feel
corny.
it's corny. It doesn't feel right. Like if you're going to do something that's like morally ambiguous like this, it's like have it have stakes. Like when Sydney does it at the end of two, when she like just shoots Mrs. Loomis's corpse and she's just like, just in case. It's like this very like cold like way that she does it, and it's like it shifts Sydney into this moral ambiguity, but it doesn't feel like it's too much. It feels like it's the right thing to do in the moment. It's Sydney being smart, and the characters are like, we got to get our story straight or whatever. Like here, it's just it's excessive, and it's done in a way that you say like it's just about the girl boss thing. We just got
Yeah,
to
it's
make
like a
her.
take that. That's
Yeah.
what it's giving. It's giving a ha ha. And it's almost when they look, it's almost like they look at each other like some kind of kids movie and they're like, yeah. And then they like decide to kill him. Like
Hmm.
that's just what it felt like. And I was like, yep, knew we had it in us. Like I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like if Sam was in Scream 7, I could see them going the route of like her blacking out. And then when she wakes up, there's another murder, and like they're not sure, like, is it her? And then I feel like
Jesus.
by the end, she would end up like not being the killer, but like the whole movie, like they want you to think that it's her. I could see it being like one of those.
Well, you know what? It's fortunately we don't have to
Well, thank
have that.
heavens.
But
Something completely different.
but then the final shot is her like she's put on the mask. I think I used the Judge Judy uh terminology of like you tasted the steak, you ate the steak, you can't return it.
Hmm.
She's put on the mask, she's murdered Bailey, and now she's sort of like standing there with the mask and the ambulances, and Tara's just like, "Are you coming?" And she throws the mask on the floor, being like she's renounced her ghost face ties, like
Her
she's not a killer, but
urges.
it's like you did it, you can't return it at this point, like that is going
Yeah.
to live with you, like that is like a huge psychological wound. And but not in this version of the movie, like not whatever this is, because it's just like, no, this is just like hunty girl boss, and like I was
Yeah.
able to do what I had to do, and now we're gonna walk off into the sunset with my sister and my not killer boyfriend, and everyth's cool. And here's Demi Lovato, like,
Yeah. And
hate
even just how
it.
she'd be like, you know what? He was like a limp dick, like whatever she says about it. And then like when like even the way she stabs him in the eye, it's almost like a yeah. Like
Yeah.
did you ever see Harry Potter Deathly Hallows?
No,
You
I
know
didn't. Yeah.
the second one? Oh my God, well in the second one there's like this character named Bellatrix Lestrange and she gets killed by um the Weasley's mom and like
Spoilers for Harry Potter.
whatever. No, I'm not even saying that. It's been out for 100,000 years. So whatever. She kills Bellatrix, and then like there's a literal like it's just like a shot of her, and she's like, and it's for the audience to be like, yeah, like it's just for that reason, and like that's
Yeah.
almost like what this felt like. That's what Sam felt like to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Davy B. Jones. I mean, what happened to you earlier in the movie when Sam was having therapy and was disturbed that killing Richie felt right? Why is she suddenly okay with killing Wayne now?
Gruesomely
Exactly.
too. Not even
Yeah,
like yeah,
yeah.
gruesome.
And
Not a quick shot to the head. Gruesome.
and here's the thing. I like this aspect about Sam that like she's not Sydney. She is able to kind of like become unhinged and go off the rails, and it like
Hmm.
she's not a character who is like necessarily smart or savvy, but she can be, completely um just almost like animalistic, of just sort of like, you've like pushed me so far, I'm going to like physically overtake you and like go beyond that. But the thing is, like, where are the consequences? Like things like that. Like you spent the whole movie trying to outrun these allegations that like people have said online, and what you're doing, the first thing you're doing is you're going to kill a cop. Like, how
Yeah.
is that going to look?
OD.
It's just fortunate that like I guess in this case, everyone's just like, yeah, like Mindy running up like, Ethan and Bailey are the killers. Like, where did you find that out? But like, sure, okay.
Right?
Everyone's fine.
That
No,
was meant to be quirky, that whole like last little bit. Like,
yeah.
I'm here, I'm here. Like, okay. I don't know. That
I
felt
just,
very like
yeah,
end of a TV show.
it did. Yeah, so yeah, if it seemed like we're been very negative, I feel
It,
personally attacked by this movie. I feel that this
yeah.
movie went out of its way to offend myself anyway.
I think if we came across negative in this, it's because we didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, like I don't know, we had big hopes for it. I think you're extra hard on something when you like had big hope for it. Like me with I
yeah.
Know You Did Last Summer 2025.
Well, I'll
Um,
say this. Like, I think that this is a better movie than I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025, but I also hold Scream to a higher standard
yes.
as a franchise. Like, I hear a lot of people say like there is no bad Scream movies, and I disagree
Yes. We've
personally.
said that
I
before.
think that this is a bad Scream movie. I think that Five is not a great Scream movie either. But and this doesn't even feel like a Scream movie.
I don't think it's a bad movie. I think like it doesn't like hold up to the Scream potential, but like if this wasn't part of the Scream franchise and this was just like what is that movie with the heart killer? The
Hard
Valentine's
Eyes.
Day Hard
Yeah.
Eyes. Like if this kind of felt like Hard Eyes, it would
I
have worked.
liked Hard Eyes. I mean, I think that
You
Hard Eyes is
did.
a it's Hard
I was
Eyes is
really
a we should have covered it for Valentine's
that
Day. The
reveal felt really silly to me. Like
well,
I
okay,
couldn't
well,
handle that reveal.
no spoilers, but
Oh, I
mm,
shan't.
I shan't.
I shan't reveal.
I what I liked with Heart Eyes is that when it did horror, I think that it did horror very successfully. What I didn't like is that it like had to vacillate between comedy, like rom-com and horror. Um,
Vacillate.
that's obviously was the purpose, like that's the intention, so I can't really hold it against it.
Hmm.
But I still, I don't know, I need to watch it again. I would watch it again. But I think that for what Hard Eyes is, it's like intending to be that. Scream should not intend to be this. Scream, the template for what Scream is already exists, and you can like push the boundaries and bend the rules of what that template is. But when you are like doing it to this degree where it's just like we're forgetting all of like the emotional groundwork and the well-crafted murder mystery, just like the way that Wes Craven uh took such like precious care of the material to make sure that it was what it was. And then, Spyglass takes over and they're just like, yeah, we're gonna have popcorn buckets and there's gonna
Yeah.
be nostalgia and like that's
Spy
kind of
ass, if you ask me.
boy, yeah. Well, anyway, I think that now is as good a time as ever to get to the cherry pickup.
It's not like we kill people on purpose.
Okay, so last week we asked you who deserves to die the most in Scream 5. I nominated Amber Freeman. Tim, you nominated Liv McKenzie across Patreon, Instagram, and YouTube. The final tally was 664 for Amber versus 214 for Liv. Livy.
Oh, go
Yeah.
figure.
B-Boy Tev voting Amber based on the principle of taking multiple shots and then overpowering Dewey. Fear Queer Horror Guru. Liv, of course. Jazzy Boo. I picked Amber for obvious reasons, like killing my favorite person. But also, Liv was a nothing character. I honestly forgot she was in the movie. Thomas Baker. I'm picking Amber because she killed our man, Dewey. David Garrido. Amber because she killed Dewey.
Makes
Michelle,
sense.
I can see where most of these are going. Michelle Lacey, Amber, because nothing makes Scream fans more angry than anything happening to this sweet baby angel, ghosty face. Oh, and the killing stuff, I guess. Blue Box 87, Amber for winning that Oscar over Demi Moore. She was barely in the movie, and though Madison can play crazy really well. There wasn't that much there as a character. Her death was also a repeat of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Silent Saturn. I don't mind either. Liv isn't particularly fleshed out, but she still has some fun moments. So I don't see her as a complete waste. Nonetheless, gonna go with her over Amber, who is just so much fun in the third act. She also pisses off all the right people online. Double Shantae. Amethyst. I don't hate Amber, but it feels cosmically correct that Zack finally got to nominate her after 4 years. I, the stars are lining up. Tiona S. Liv was such a throwaway character. She added nothing to the movie. It looked like she was going to be a red herring, but that went nowhere. My vote is for Amber, though. I just hate the line because our movie has fucking stakes. So yeah,
Right.
Amber. Jesse Raycat, get rid of Amber. Please get rid of Amber. Jackie Simmons. Amber tried to kill her best friend in quotations, several times, and yet she hated Sam for leaving town 5 years ago. She seemed angrier than Tara about that. I don't see her argument against Sam for hurting Tara when she herself attacked the girl and planned on using her as an opening kill in her terrible movie. Some friend I could have seen an attempt, albeit unsuccessful, to sway Tara to turn against her sister, if only to destabilize the shaky reunion slash cast serious doubts on Sam's innocence. But she and Richie had a half-baked plan to begin with. Arguably, they might have succeeded by leaving the OG trio out of the story. Giant stuffed dog. The only interesting thing about Liv was her death. Welshman, maybe the psychotic killer. Also says Radio Silence ruined Scream. Scream 5 and 6 is garbage. Steve O. Canivo. Liv was utterly pointless. Robert Holston, as they say, amber is the color of your energy, so I will go with Liv. Scriforum ONW, is it unpopular to say I disliked the whole teenage friend group in this movie? Every time I watch five, I am confused why they are even friends. The movie clearly divides its characters into three factions: OG, Sam plus Tara plus Richie, and then them. And whenever they are the primary focus of a scene, I struggle to find a reason to care since they are kind of just there because the movie needs more characters. I mean, that's pretty much what you said in
Hmm.
in a
Too
way, like
many.
just like who are the yeah. Uh Vixenella Pops. Well, Liv did literally nothing the whole film. Amber killed Dewey, so enough said. And finally, Grant Dempsey, Amber, because how the hell could she raise Dewey clear over her head and hurl his body 10 whole feet down a hallway like that? Um, okay, so I'm I'm gonna nominate the same person I did the last time we covered Scream 6 because I want this bitch to have her day. Uh the Diet Cherry Coke girl because what an awful waste of a human. Like just someone who comes
She's
up to
she's
say
funny though. She's kind of funny.
she's
Murderer.
murderer. You know what you did. But like if you think she's a murderer, why are you provoking her?
Right. Because you don't
You
really,
shouldn't provoke someone like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure she did die that night.
That I
You
mean, if
wait.
all these non-NPCs, why didn't they choose her to be one?
Well, what you didn't see is that she actually stepped off the curb in a taxi with a boom, like so
She was in the Final Destination franchise.
yeah, right. She was like, I
Yeah.
showed her. Boom.
Hmm.
Um I would have to go with Officer Bailey. I just can't stand him,
Yeah.
and um I think he deserves to die the most.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
And
Who's our cherry on top?
for this
Let's
one,
sift through the ash of Scream 6 and
um
find a cherry on
Sydney.
top.
Sydney, because she chose not to be in it. No,
Mm,
uh
I really struggle with this because I mean, like, if I'm being biased, I would go towards Gail, but I just feel like Gail sucked in this movie.
yeah, she's stuck in this movie.
Um,
So I guess Sam,
I
because
would go, I mean, if I had to choose, like I would say Chad, but if it's Sam, it's because she looks fabulous.
She looks so
And
hot by the end. She
yeah,
does. But
yeah.
yeah, and Chad is so sweet. But yeah, I would say her or Chad, Sam or Chad.
My choice would be Chad, but
Okay, we
I'll
can go
let
with
you.
Chad. Let's
Let's
go
go
with
with
Chad.
Chad. Let's go with
Yeah,
Chad.
yeah, you won
Let's go with
last
Chad.
week. We're going with Chad. He's on that top of that
Yeah,
tree.
top of the
Ice cream.
cherry. Top
Top
of
of
the
the
cherry.
top of the Sunday.
Anyway, so if you want to vote for who deserves to die the most, between Diet Cherry Coke Girl and Wayne Bailey, I feel like you're gonna win this one. You can head over to Patreon. I opened that as a public vote, so even if you're not following on Patreon, you can head over there and get an extra vote in. But while you're there, consider, even the $1 tier. Just throwing a little support our way helps keep this mocha running. You can also follow us on Instagram at the Cherry Picker Pod and vote there. And then also on YouTube here is the vote. So make sure you're subscribed. And also, if you would prefer to listen to the episodes rather than watch them, the RSS feed link is in the descriptions down below. Tim, where can they find you on the socials?
I am on Instagram, Tim McKay Beauty, and that's it.
Just Instagram. And
Yeah, for
you can
now.
find my main YouTube channel. That's Zack Cherry, Zack space Cherry. I am on Instagram and Letterboxd at Retro Bitchface, and then Twitter at ZackCherry8. And I would ask what is going on next week, but we already talked about it. But do you want to remind everyone again?
For next week, our winner is It Chapter 1. Is that what you just asked me?
Exactly. It's
Sorry, yeah,
yeah,
okay.
you
Yeah,
got it. Yeah.
sorry.
Sorry to put you on the spot. But
Yes.
then, but then after that, Scream 7 will be out, so we will be covering Scream
Ah,
7.
I can't wait.
And could you imagine it's going to be terrible and we're going to be even more negative than we were here.
I know,
This
we
is
just like start the episode in silence.
I guarantee you this has probably been the most negative episode of the Cherry Picker ever.
Oh yeah, it was totally negative, but I
So
feel like
negative.
we didn't hate
We're
anyone
fair.
that
We're
made this
fair.
movie. We didn't
Yeah.
hate anyone personally. We just
Yeah.
hated everything that they decided to do.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of hatred in my heart. I just,
Yeah.
calling a spade a spade. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and